We are live.
Welcome to Perspective Shift. How are we doing, Frank?
Doing well, Mike. How you doing?
Good. It's good to be here today.
All right. I'm excited about today.
Yes, we've got a very special guest. You want to give him an announcement?
Yeah, Ben Lunak,
Yes.
Marine, and he's going to tell a wonderful story today, an amazing story, which is going to help lives throughout the, all over the world, especially here. When I heard his story, I watched the documentary. It was very emotional. The documentary.
Which documentary?
It was, United We Heal.
Okay.
It was a great documentary. Yeah, I when I spoke to him last week early, just a pre-run for the interview, he told me about it. I didn't know about it, and I watched it like right after that, and I was like, "Wow, this is good."
See, that's
it was
awesome.
really good. Yeah,
I'm excited for today's episode, guys. We're going to dive in. Today, the episode airing is going to be on Veterans Day, so that makes this a little bit more special for us.
That was the synchronicity
veterans.
because we had no idea. We didn't plan this; it just happened. It's going to be released on Veterans Day, which is an honor.
Yeah, that was cool. That really wasn't planned. We actually didn't know. You didn't know until you talked to your aunt, huh?
Yeah, my cousin. Yeah,
your cousin.
Yeah, but that's what happens on Perspective Shift. Things just fall into place.
They fall exactly into place, right where they need to be. That's where we're at all times. So we'll get this one kicked off. Everybody welcome Mr. Ben Lunak. And here we go.
Here we go.
Well, welcome to Perspective Shift,
Yeah,
man.
Welcome to Perspective Shift. Right.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you, man. We have a honored guest today, Ben Lunak. And we're going to get into it. We're just going to have Ben. Let's start with you, just telling you what are you doing right now, like this, the day to day right now, with the organizations and stuff.
Right now, my wife and we train people out of our garage, like when it comes to strength and conditioning. My wife writes nutritional programs for people, regardless if they're severely overweight and they want to lose weight, or if they're a high level athlete and they need fuel. Right now, when it comes to the organizations, we're not doing anything.
Okay. All right.
Good to know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. We got that all set up.
All right. So let's start. Like, I always like to get your background. When were you born? What year?
So I was born in 1984.
Okay. All right.
Nice. And what kind of got you as far as like your military background, Ben? Tell us a little bit about what's going on that. How did you kind of get into the Marines? All that.
Yeah,
good stuff?
what were you like as a child? Like, I know it probably came from that place. What was your childhood like?
Well, I was very adventurous as a child, and of course that led to trouble. And then
that's right.
Yeah, good trouble.
My grandpa brought home this VHS tape, and it had like The Wizard of Oz, and I can't remember one other movie, but the third movie it was on was Red Dawn. And I was 8 years old when I watched that with Patrick Swayze, and the Wolverines. And that really tied me to the military service. And when it came to the Marine Corps, my grandpa was a Marine. My uncle is a Marine. My great uncle, he served in Vietnam.
Okay.
And the Marine Corps, I was really tied to it because everyone was like, "Oh, you'll never make it. You're going to die during boot camp." And so I was really tied to that aspect of it just to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
I
love that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, 9/11 happened. I was a senior in high school. My buddy comes in and said, "Hey, someone bombed the World Trade Center." I'm like, "What? What's going on?" And then, of course, next hour came and or next class period, and the teacher had it on the news, and it wasn't a bomb; it was a freaking airplane. And then we watched that hour, the second plane hit. And then I remember looking at my teacher, and she just completely broke down, and she had to leave to gain her composure. And that found out it was a terrorist attack. And that really fueled me to, okay, I'm definitely going to join now. And that's what led me to it.
Now, where were you living at this time? What state?
Yep. I was living in Grand Forks, North Dakota, about an hour south of the Canadian border, right on the border of Minnesota.
That's a really warm place, isn't it?
70 and sunny year round.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Then you get, the winter's no joke. It gets nosebleed cold up there. So it's, I don't miss it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I can.
So what was your childhood like? Like, what was your day-to-day childhood stuff?
Well, both my parents were married. Um, were married until I was 18,
Okay.
and then they got a divorce. Growing up, I mean, I was just regular old childhood, just playing guns in the backyard and
All right.
stirring up some trouble. And I hated school, absolutely hated school.
Yeah, I was right there with you, buddy.
But I never cut. I never skipped any class.
Yeah.
But I mean, I never did any work. Absolutely, I could not stand school. Sorry.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's good that you bring that up. I mean, school. You know, at the end of the day, it's a crazy experience, and it's cool kind of hearing your background on that.
Yeah. Well, you don't have a choice; you have to go, right? That's So
yeah.
I think that's kind of what sets apart, like obviously a lot of kids don't like it from one vantage point, not because they have no choice, but sometimes that puts the calluses on our minds as well. So who knows?
Yeah.
So you were a senior when you decided then that you were going to go into an enlist and all that good stuff. Is that kind of how it worked? It was the 9/11 was that point for you, Ben?
Yep. That was definitely the cherry on top. Like, okay, that's what I'm going to do.
Did you have friends that like also shared this passion, or was this mainly you? Or did you have a group of buddies that, hey guys, we need to enlist?
Not at all. I was the only one out of my friends who wanted to go the military route. Everyone else, they thought the military was stupid and they didn't want anything to do with it. And that's fine. I mean, that's completely okay. And then I think further down the road, a few of those individuals ended up enlisting anyway.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. And then my parents were not supportive at all.
Really?
Oh, no.
They didn't want you going that route.
Oh, absolutely not. No, especially during wartime. And I mean, that's all I wanted to do when I was a kid was let's go to war,
Yeah.
And then had the opportunity to. And then, especially now that I'm older, I'm not 8 years old anymore playing freaking Patrick Swayze in Red Dawn,
Yep.
I still act like I'm 8 though.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
So your parents are deathly afraid, and you're sitting there going, "Nope." It was a calling. You felt it then, huh?
Oh, without a doubt. I spent a couple years between graduation to the point of enlistment. Those 2 years were really a struggle for me because my parents were divorced, and I was old enough. However, I did not want to go to my mom's house because I didn't like her boyfriend, and I didn't want to go to my dad's house because I didn't like her girlfriend. So it kind of sent me astray, and I got involved with the wrong crowd. But however, if it wasn't for those guys, because I wasn't smart, I mean, I didn't pay attention in high school at all, so I couldn't even multiply. But that crowd they literally tutored me how to do math because they were really supportive about me going into the Marine Corps, even though they weren't on the right path either. And those were the only group of people that supported me. It was like, you know what, you need to do it, otherwise you're going to regret it. And they literally tutored me math, English, and I was able to pass the ASVAB. And then I ended up back living with my mom, and I'm sitting there. This was July of 2004, and I'm mowing my lawn, and I'm thinking like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm living in my mom's basement. I'm mowing her lawn. And then it just literally hit me to go down and enlist in the Marine Corps. And I left the lawnmower right there, got my little Honda CRX.
And,
left it running.
It would have kept running. It would have kept running, but you let go of the gas, it shuts off.
Yeah. Wow, so it was just like a snap decision. Like obviously you were thinking about it for years, but then one day it was just like, bam, we got to do it.
Yep.
Do you think it was the type of thing? So I know, like for me, like part of my maturity level, like I kind of got so sick of my own shit that I needed to kind of change stuff up. Would that be kind of similar to what you described it? You're 2 years after high school before enlistment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, it was that was a rough 2 years, and had a lot going on, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere.
the group you were talking about, are you saying your friends at the time were the ones who helped you get kind of
Yep.
buckle down as far as school goes and everything like that, or learning what you needed to for, I think you called it the AFAB, correct?
The ASVAB. Yeah, absolutely. Because I took my ASVAB and the recruiter was like, dude, you have no chance. You need to go and do something about it. So went back. It was like 6 of us staying in this 2-bedroom little house. And I was like, yeah, I didn't even pass.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what did you pass? I said math and English. They're like, all right, well, go buy a math book and we'll teach you. So that's literally what they did. And
dude, that's awesome.
So by this time, like 20, 21 around there?
I was 20 years old, 19, 20 years old.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You make it. All right.
Yeah. If it wasn't for those, I tell people, if it wasn't for those menace to society, I wouldn't be here, you know.
Well, that's why I touched on it. Is a lot of the time people think, oh, you know, running with the bad crowd, et cetera, it only brings you down. In your case, it got you onto the path.
Yeah,
correct.
It sounds like these guys, no matter what you guys are doing, they had your back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I remember, what movie is that? Oh my gosh, it's with
Ben Affleck and
yes, absolutely. When he's like, do you know why they hang around those? He hangs around those losers because they have their back.
Good Will Hunting.
That's
they would take.
Yeah, there we.
Yep. Yeah,
Good Will Hunting.
But that's probably, you know, that's the mindset heading into, especially like the Marines, probably all armed forces, but it's having your buddy's back, right? It's kind of, which then you have your own back, so to speak. Yeah. But isn't that interesting? Like you have these stories about, like things aren't going well, but then the pressure comes, but then in an instant you make a decision and you just do it. And it seems like this, like I watched, after we spoke last Monday, I went right down, I turned the camera off with you, and I went and got that documentary.
Oh, how
United We Fall. I mean, United We Heal. Wow, that was a powerful documentary. It really was. It was moving, but yeah, it was an honor to watch that. Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to watch that.
Really well done. Yeah.
Yeah, the group of dudes. That's also a random story down the road about how we how I met those guys.
We'll have to touch on that at some point.
Yeah, we'll definitely. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, so like, walk us through, like, because I have a bunch of family members that went to the Marines and stuff. But walk us through, like, where were you stationed? Like, where'd you start boot camp?
Yeah, great starting point.
Yep. So my recruiter called me, and one morning I was scheduled to go to boot camp in November, and it was September, and he called me. And he was like, hey, do you want to go to boot camp early? I'm like, well, how early is early? He's like, about 6 hours from now. I'm like, absolutely. Call me back in 10 minutes.
Let's do it.
There he goes with that split decision. Let's do it now. Yeah.
There's a lot of that. And I called my mom. I said, Mom, I'm going to boot camp. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, at noon, they want me in Fargo, which was the main office or whatever. And I'm going to boot camp. She's like, do not leave. Wait till I get home. And then, because she was at work. And then I went to my dad's. I was like, Dad, I'm leaving. He's like, well, you're going to end up in a fucking box. I don't know why you're doing this. And I was like, okay, see you later. And then said bye to my friends, and I was off on a plane. Keep in mind, I've never been on a plane. I've never left anything further than Wisconsin or Montana. So this was the first time.
Wow.
First time away from home like that.
Did you have any fear during this? Because so far in your story, it seems like there was no fear at any point.
Not yet. I mean, not yet.
Yeah,
not yet.
It sounded like you were pretty like gung ho, like, no, I'm doing it.
Yeah, it was excitement was generating something. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I didn't make those decisions, because I was no longer around that crowd, I removed myself from that group of people. And after that, like, no one would support my decision at all. It took a little while, but eventually it wore on my mom. And then she's like, well, I'm proud of you. And I'm glad you went with the Marine Corps instead of another branch. Like, thank you. Yeah, and that's
family. So was that your mom's lineage with that was in
there?
All right.
Yeah, but also my dad's grandpa was in the Marine Corps. He enlisted. He lied about his age.
That's so funny.
Excuse me. Yeah, he lied about his age and at 15 to get into the Marine Corps.
Isn't that interesting? A lot like years ago, people they're like, I gotta get out of here. Yeah, I'm 18. It's like a 12-year-old kid,
Yeah, yeah, and they go off and fight like these intense battles.
Yeah.
Like I look at 15. I was at work and I was like thinking about like this 13-year-old. I'm like, my gosh, back in the day, they used 13-year-olds would be on the front lines fighting like World War II and Korea and all that. I'm like, that's insane.
It is
absolutely insane.
That's why they were considered the greatest generation.
Yeah.
They didn't question, they just did.
Mm-hmm. No
tough.
And that's why look like a guy like you, because I know the time from when you were born to the point where you wanted to go in the military, especially when this 9/11 happened, the war broke out. There was always this slight sentiment before that about breaking away to military. It's not a way to go. Like when I graduated from high school, a lot of my buddies went into Marines. There was no war going on, but it was still a prominent place to serve your country, But then this slowed down with people like looking against it. So you were actually singled out. Like that's pretty incredible to make that decision, even though everyone around you was against it. Like years ago, you talk about your grandfather or your great uncle. He was making that decision where a lot of people were. So he had probably a lot more support. You had
zero
less
support.
So that's even there's a lot to that. That speaks a lot from your personality and your pursuit.
It really does. With all odds against you, essentially.
Yeah,
you still made the decision. You got mom and dad in your ear going, no. You even got your buddies who who helped you get to this point. Going,
I know how to speak and count. I have to get the hell out of
here.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a calling, and we have this saying, "Marine by God." God selects his Marines, and there's nothing you could do about it. If he selects you, he's going to select you. And I didn't understand that until like years after I got out. But the Marine Corps is literally in my bloodline, and one of the main focuses on the Marine Corps was everyone said I couldn't do it. They're the hardest, whatever. And even when you're walking down the street and someone's like, you're a Marine, aren't you? I'm like, yeah, how could you tell?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're a truck driver. It doesn't matter if you're a grunt or special forces in the Marine Corps. People are like, oh, wow, you're a Marine type thing.
And is it like, there's no such thing as an ex-Marine. It's like once a Marine, always a Marine, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
A lot of people like enforce, I'm an ex-Navy guy. And there's no such thing as an ex-Marine.
That's cool.
Once Marine, always Marine. Yeah,
that is correct.
I had a cousin that's spent his life in the Marines.
Oh wow.
Yeah, his name
that's pretty cool.
James Dillon, and I had another cousin who, he's a cousin of my cousin, but he's younger. He served. He actually went in '99, right before the towers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he's a little bit older than you. I think he was born in '81. So
okay,
yeah, roughly. So he spent. I know he did a tour in. Both in Iraq and Afghanistan.
So. Dang, yeah. I always wondered, like, you enlist pre 9/11, and then 9/11 happens. I wondered, like, the instant direct shift in day-to-day operations on that, because during that time, everyone's like, I'm just going to go into the military. There's no war going on, whatever. We'll see what comes of it. And then, blink of an eye, everything changed.
Yeah, because your mindset was a lot different. You were going in knowing there's a war.
Yeah, I wanted infantry. I wanted to get over there as soon as possible. And then when we're in boot camp, it was actually when the Operation Phantom Fury with Fallujah was going on. And all of us were like scared that the war is going to be over by the time we even get a chance to go over there and fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you look back, you're like, I had plenty of time.
Yeah, I could have took my sweet side.
Hey, Sarge, can we speed this thing up?
Yeah.
Wow.
What did they tell you? Sorry, go ahead, Frank.
No, I was going to say, where was the boot camp? Where were you?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to go to San Diego, California.
Oh, nice. All right. So were you in Pendleton or?
Yep. So Marine Corps recruiting depot right next to the San Diego airport.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
When you got there, did they tell you what did they tell you about 9/11? I've never heard this from a Marine's perspective. Was that a big talking point? Was that something that they that was discussed a lot during your training in boot camp?
No, they more because at this time the war was going on. It just kicked off. And all they were talking about was we're going to go over there and people are going to try to kill us and we need to kill them before they kill us. And we have this one drill instructor, Sergeant Price, and all he would talk about is just slaying bodies over there. And because I think he was in during the initial push. And then because I think he was the only combat veteran out of all of our drill instructors. So, of course, he's going to be really harping on that. And all they talked about was the war and how we need to mentally and physically be prepared to go over there.
Yeah. And so, what was boot camp like to get you prepared? Because now you had this drill sergeant that actually combat, so he had to add a little more emphasis onto that. It wasn't just like, okay, let's run 30 miles today. It's more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when fear started kicking in. Was that first day, and we go through receiving. And receiving is where we get all of our shots and check our teeth for dental and see if we need any immediate medical care. And I remember sitting there, and I'm just sitting there waiting, thinking, and the guy's like, "Where's your general orders?" I'm like, "What the heck are general orders?" They're like, "Well, you're supposed to memorize those in the DET program, the delayed entry program." I'm like, "Well, that's funny. I never went to one delayed entry program event, so I have no idea what's going on." Oh, and then that's when I was like, "Man, I'm not prepared for this."
Yeah.
And we got picked up on Friday, and that's when like we get to our platoons. And I remember looking at Sergeant Price. I'm like, "Man, look at that guy. That guy, kind of looks weak. He looks like a pussy." And then I don't know, I don't know if he noticed that or he just whatever. But right when the CO dismissed or whatever, and they got up and got into her asses, like he was on me, and he was on me the whole time. And
man,
boot camp was a long 3 months, and then I figured it out. Because keep in mind, I've never been on an airplane. I've never been to an airport bigger than like a small warehouse, like in Grand Forks.
Okay.
And I get to the airport in San Diego. They're like, "Hey, you need to go to the USO and wait for them to pick you up." I'm like, "Cool." I'll see a sign that says USO, and I'm thinking, that's the USO. I'm just sitting outside on a bench underneath the sign that says USO. And I don't know what, I was angry because I thought I was going to be late. So I called the recruiter. He didn't answer the phone. So I left a very angry message telling him to F off. "I can't believe you effing did this to me." And then, he's like, "Oh, cool. I'll just call your drill instructors and tell them what you just did." He never told me that, but I figured it out. And it was a long 3 months, man. Very interesting. And there's a couple stories that stick out. One was the day after we got picked up, the squad bays are 3 stories high, and they have open stairways, so you could climb over the railing if you wanted to. And we're sitting around there, and then the drill instructor's giving us a small course on drill and marching. And I look up and I see this dude on the 3rd level. He climbs over the railing and like holds the railing and starts yelling. And as he's climbing over the railing, I'm thinking like, "Man, how's he gonna climb down?" And then the drill instructor grabbed the guidon and stuck it on him. He's like, "Go ahead and jump, motherfucker." I'm like, holy shit, that guy's gonna try to jump and kill himself. Here I'm thinking like, oh, he's just gonna climb down, but no, he's gonna jump. But he did. A couple recruits pulled him out from over it. But that was like a huge.
Was he trying to kill himself? Was it an attempt?
Yeah. So he never jumped though. But yeah, his intent was to kill himself.
Holy
and
shit. So that intense. Boot camp is that intense. And there's got to be like an even higher level of intensity because of 9/11, right? Like you're going to war. So like boot camp was like levels up from people who like aren't about to go into war. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. The Marine Corps, that's the one thing they focused on, was like, hey, they're really focusing on taking us boys and molding us into men who are about to go to combat. So they only have a 3-month period, the initial, and that is what molds us into that. And boot camp was hard for me. The first 2 weeks was absolute hell. I got put on trial training. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I got put on trial training because I was like failure to adapt. I'm like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And they're like, you need to be loud and you need to be intense. I'm like, say no more, because I'm allowed and I can be an intense person if I want to.
We're like, why didn't you say so? I would have done
it. Yeah. Those two things, sweet, no problem at all. And then so I implemented that feedback, and when I graduated, I got like most improved recruit. So I would like to say I was a shitbag when I first got to boot camp, because it was rough, man. It was
like
rough.
Full Metal Jacket, like the movie? Is it like that, where they're fucking just yelling in your face the whole time?
Yeah.
That guy was an actual drill sergeant in that movie.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's kind of why I bring it up. Is I was like, I've heard that. I've heard that he's an actual drill sergeant. I was wondering if it was like that type of intensity, because you bring up intensity.
Yeah. No, I didn't get punched in the face or anything. Yeah. And but they're always yelling to
so they
create
expect you to yell back.
Absolutely, as loud as you friggin' can at all times. And then I mean, it's crazy. I think I was 126 foot, 120 pounds in boot camp, or 115 pounds. I was just a twig. Yeah, I was very small.
Were you into working out at all prior to going to
really? Were you like a party guy type of thing, just doing your thing?
Oh, I drank a lot.
Yeah,
drank a lot.
All right.
Yep.
And
so then, this was your whole world upside down. Flip the whole script on anything you've ever experienced.
Yeah, absolutely. I was no longer in Kansas anymore. I'll tell you that much. All right.
Go big or go home, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yep.
That takes a lot of balls. Like, to just like go from that, like, all right, I'm doing my thing, I'm living with my parents, I'm doing whatever, to just complete 180, like whole new world.
Yeah. Well, that's what Marines need to do, though, right?
That
over. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that prepared me physically, because I didn't work out, I didn't run, I was smoking like a pack and a half of cigarettes a day, I was drinking a lot. And then however, I was a laborer for this grain inspection company, so we had this huge 10-foot brass pole that we had to jam into our rail cars 3 times a car, and there was 100 cars in one string. And that's what and it didn't matter the weather conditions. Like, it could be 50 below and windy out there, like you got to go out there and get it. And I think that it definitely prepared me physically, and I think it prepared me mentally through adverse conditions.
Yeah, so tough labored work, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, if the Marine Corps, because I wanted to, like, that first 2 weeks, I just wanted to quit. I didn't want to freaking be there. And then I thought about, like, all those people like, you're never going to make it. I couldn't imagine going home to, like, look my friends in the eyes and then have them tell me, like, oh man, I told you wouldn't make it. I would have, because I know people do that. I know people, like, manipulate the system so they can get out of the Marine Corps or whatever, the boot camp. And I just think, like, they have to regret that. There has to be a point in time where they're like, oh man, I really fucked up. Yeah. And I didn't want to experience that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You're saying like they rest knowing, like, shit, I could have made it.
They spend the rest of their life questioning that. Yeah.
Yep. And with the trial training, once they told me that, they're like, yo, you're looking to go home in 2 weeks. I'm like, I mean, that really opened my eyes, where it was an instant, like, that old me was gone. It was no longer. That very second was like, okay, let's do, what do I need to do? And they're like, well, you need to be loud, you need to be fast, you need to be intense. I'm like, okay, cool. Just no more, say no more. And then that was it. Then at that very moment, I knew I was going to graduate and become a Marine.
So you completely just changed your persona right in that moment.
Bam. Yep. Yeah. And they're like, and when they would smoke us or call it intense training, and I was like, sweet, let's do it. Let's get more. You can't break me type thing, And I was always looking forward to that, unless it was really early in the morning, because there's nothing worse than getting smoked, like, first thing when you wake up, because that
tell us what that is. Tell us when they smoke you what that is.
So I mean, just physical activity. So you'll be running in place, and then you'll be doing burpees, push-ups, jump jacks, and all that. And of course, they're yelling at you. They're like, I remember this one guy, Price, was like, hey, when he was smoking us, he was yelling like, just think there's someone over in Iraq who would kill you and kill your family and rape your family and all that. I'm like, man, this guy's going hard to paint or whatever, but it worked. Whatever he did worked. And yeah, I will never. And that was the first thing in my life that actually completed start to finish.
Good for you, man.
All right. And that will stick with the rest
that
of your
probably
life.
felt great too.
Yeah.
I know what you mean though. Like you just kind of give up on shit when you're doing your like
Yeah.
you actually complete something. It's like fuck. Like,
yeah.
You know?
And
absolutely.
And that's anyone listening to this out here that's going to be listening to this. That mindset, you're proven you can go from one personality to another in an instant. You just have to make it possible.
Yep. It's what time is it? I heard the Ultimate Warrior say one time, like, oh, at 6:15 where I am, by 6:16 you could change the perspective on your life.
You can.
And I was like, man, that hits me deep when
I did that.
Yeah, multiple times.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you have buddies when you were in this boot camp, or do they not do you create friendships during that, or is it mainly every man for himself?
Oh no, like you're instant. Like when we're all hanging out at the USO, we're kind of, we're just talking. We're not really saying much because we don't know what to expect. But the instant the drill instructors pick us up and start yelling at us, all that bond like instantly starts, because I mean, it's just us. There's no one else. And it doesn't matter where you're black, red, purple, white, whatever. I mean, we all have the common goal here. And that what made us so, I guess, functional in a diverse situation.
And lots of different walks of life, right? I mean, shit, where you're from and people all over the world or country, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We had gang.
Yeah.
We had gangbangers. We had people who were spoon fed their whole life. We had people that showed up with no shoes because they're so freaking poor. And but yeah, it instantly becomes that Marine Corps bond. Like the second that man steps in and starts yelling at you.
Yeah. So did you later on gain a better relationship with Sergeant Price?
No, negative. Right when we graduated, I bounced. Like I didn't want anything to do with him. I entered my dad.
This guy
yeah. Like I'm out, and I'm just waiting for me to like randomly run into him on the streets, because he was the man who made me who I am today, who gave me like the tools I needed to, I guess, stop being a little bitch and just go forward, just
totally.
Yeah.
Right,
so
that's crazy.
Yeah. It's always good to have someone like that. I listen to David Goggins almost every day.
That dude's
man. That man will make anyone feel weak.
Actually, it's funny. Like he has a similar story too. Like when I listened to David Goggins' story and I read his book about how like he was like 20. He was actually started off in the armed forces and then left.
Yeah, Air Force.
25. Yeah. He was 25 years old and he was killing cockroaches, as he says. He was 300 pounds, and he went into Navy, and just that instant he changed his persona. And
instantaneous. And that's a great story, because he also was like, hey, I'm 300 pounds. I need to change something like yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I need? Even though the man you're talking to may not believe you, but deep down in self, you believe that, like, I don't care what this man says, I'm going to accomplish what I did. And he did. He lost what do you do? Eat like a leaf of lettuce a day and just, work his way up to be able to run. So I love that, man.
Yeah. So when you told us the story, like when 2 weeks in, you had to make a decision. It was like you making that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or the time you left the lawnmower running.
Yeah, I know. Wonder if it was still in my mom's yard in the same spot.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So you finish up at boot camp, and then is it immediate deployment? How does it kind of work from there?
Nope. So I was signed up to be a grunt. So after boot camp, we go to School of Infantry. So West Coast is at Camp Pendleton. And we went there that's where we learned at that time, we learned still Vietnam tactics. We had maybe 1 week of the urban terrain fighting, but it was still Vietnam style stuff. And
Touch on that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
Just mountains. Well, I guess I mean Afghanistan. Yeah, different terrain, different style. Same, I guess, just basic shoot, move, and communicate. I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. But when it comes to urban, like how to clear a house, how to clear a room, what weapons to use, what should you use, and instead of just have, because at the time Iraq was on the map, Afghanistan was back in the shadows. Iraq was it. But Iraq is more than just a long desert. There's a lot of urban terrain there. So they had yet to make that switch. And I don't know if they ever did, but I'm assuming they did, because just the change, you got to evolve with the time. But they also teach you about the weapon systems, 240 saw, the M16, grenades, AT4s, claymores, all that stuff. And then that's 3 months. And then you graduate and go to your unit.
All right.
So 6 months total, 3 months boot camp, 3 months of the training?
Yep, 3 months of School of Infantry. You go to your unit, and depending on the unit, you could be deploying next month, or you could be just deploying 6 months.
How quickly did you deploy?
So I, in School of Infantry, when we're getting our units, I'm like, it was like everyone wanted to go to San Diego. I mean, that was it. I'm like, what place should I not go? I was talking to my sergeant. He's like, just don't go to 29 Palms. I'm like, Roger. And then a week later, he's like, hey, I'm going to 29 Palms.
You're like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's actually my cousin. His name was Glenn Moody. They called him Doc. He trained there.
Oh, really?
In Palms. Yeah. 29 Palms. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I guess back in the day, the Army abandoned the post because it was too inhumane. Now I don't know if that's folklore or true, but then the Marine Corps is like, "Oh, sweet, absolutely, let's pick it up.
That's what we need.
We'll take
it. Yeah, we'll take it.
We'll put our guys in there. Let's do it."
Yeah, and I mean, it gets hot there. I got there in March, and we were fixing to deploy in September. So September of 2005. We didn't know where we were going until a couple months before, but they said it was going to be a challenging deployment. There was going to be a lot of engagements. So we just went on about our workup, and so yeah.
How much do they tell you about what's going on? Like, do you feel as a Marine you were given like information that civilians weren't aware of, or do you feel like civilians knew everything that was going on because of the news coverage? Like, kind of explain that dynamic.
So, we were, so the day that we learned that we're going to Ramadi, Iraq, we found this USA Today. It said Marines in Ramadi, Iraq, and it shows about how many engagements they're in. They talk about how Ramadi's like the most dangerous spot in the world. And we're like, wow, okay, it's game time. Like, this is what we all been waiting for. When it comes to the media and military aspect, they may tell us something 5 months or they might tell us something now and be like, hey, don't tell anyone, this is classified. 5 minutes later, it's all over the news.
Yeah, really?
So there's really,
there wasn't much of a difference between what the civilians knew. All right.
Yep, especially at our level, like just the grunts, that might get different when you get to the higher tier 1 level units, but to the grunts, I mean
it's
they just want
just straight infantry, like front line.
Okay. Yep, sorry about that. Just front line 0311 infantry. And
so the grunts, would you technically be the most at risk in any given situation?
I mean, every situation's different. Because there's so many of us, yes. Okay. But when it comes to the tier 1 units, they just do, if not more stuff than we do. There's just less of them. But the fact that we're sheer numbers, I mean, we're going to be more exposed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you landed, when you got into Iraq, what was that like the first day?
So
what was the first day? I'm sure you remember that real clearly.
So I was supposed to go with my unit in September. However, I broke my ankle, so I needed like a week before we deployed, and that just crushed me because, I mean, it's like going to the Super Bowl, especially when you go to a place, you're a Marine, you're a grunt, you're going to a place like Ramadi. because no one knew about Ramadi at the time because Fallujah was the hot spot.
Yeah.
But when Marines cleared house, or when Marines and soldiers cleaned house in Fallujah, everyone just moved back to Ramadi. And so I was crushed, worked so hard to get there, couldn't. I was like, Doc, I remember going in there. They're like, remember going in. I'm like, I broke my ankle. I'm like, is there any way you can cut it off? Because I think that the rehab will be shorter than if we had surgery. And the guy was like, you're crazy. I'm like, I just watched Men of Honor with Cuban. He did it. He did just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, come on.
And I was dead serious too. I'm like, cut it off. Do it. Do it. And like, no. So
Sergeant Price would have been so proud.
Yeah, he would have been like, that's my man right there.
Yeah,
good man. Oh my God.
But our deployment's 7 months long. I was 7 months light duty, and I'm undeployable if I'm on light duty. I was like, well, my deployment's 7 months long. They're like, well, sorry. I mean, there's nothing we could do. I'm like, well, there's something I can do. So again, right there, I'm like, I'm going to make it over there. At first I was on crutches, and they put me in this platoon where the people were getting out, or they were also injured, or they're going through some issues. So they put me in that platoon, and it was ran by a Gunnery Sergeant Perez, outstanding man. And I walked in there every single day, like in my crutches. I'm like, hey, can I go? Can I go? And it was in September. And then in November, oh my gosh, November of 2005, not long ago, like November, the first week in November, he's like, hey, just got off the phone with your first sergeant, pack your shit. You're going to be leaving next week. You're going to be rolling with a couple other dudes, and that's when you're going to meet up with your unit. I was like, roger that.
All right.
Let's do it.
What shape was your ankle?
Still on crutches or no? Kind of walking?
No, at this time I was off crutches and I was running.
Oh, nice.
When I mean, didn't run long distance, just short, but I was able to run. I was able to withstand because they used plates and screws. They didn't try to fuse anything together. They just freaking hardwired into it, and it was a quick healing process.
Right.
2 months total.
Yeah. All right. So now that you catch up with your unit, what was it like then? Was it just like shock and awe for you, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I got over there and I was just so happy to be over there, to be with my guys. And
these are the guys you trained with, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
You know,
well, actually, yep, I had to get placed into a different platoon, but I mean, it was the same company. I knew them all.
Okay, cool.
Knew them all before because there was like a little company shakeup before we deployed. But I knew everyone. I was extremely happy to be there. They're happy to see me. And one of my squad leaders was like, man, I really hope you don't get fucking killed over here, because that's going to look bad when you volunteer to come back over here when you didn't. I'm like, well,
yeah, I know, right?
couldn't live with myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, I like to hear that though. Like that kind of takes away some of the fear when you're arriving to people, and want to see,
Yeah, they give me a bit heads up, but
yeah. So we're talking about the comfort level and the fear or whatever. So I was in Kuwait, gonna fly into El Saad, and the sergeant that I was with, he's like, we didn't have any bullets. And I was like, man, I need some bullets. They're like, hey, here's 3. I'm like, what am I gonna do with 3 bullets?
Bullets. Is this
yeah.
Why did you have ammunition?
I don't know. That was just the way from the time we left US of A till the time I got to Kuwait.
All right.
And we're flying commercial. And I was like, hey, I need some bullets. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, come over here. And they gave me 3. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with 3 bullets, man? Like, I'm like, sure all right, whatever, let's do it.
Yeah, right. I got 3 shots.
Yeah.
Were you a good shot?
Yeah, right. You need to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So these 3 bullets get you to where? When do you get your actual ammunition? When do you get your actual guns? How does that kind of work?
So we flew into El Saad, and that's when that's the first thing we asked. It was me and a different a dude from Scout Sniper Platoon, and he was like, "We gotta go get some ammo." I'm like, "Roger that." So we found someone that gave us some ammo, and we're kind of like in a weird situation because we were the only two of 3-7. There was no other Marines from 3-7, let alone Marines in the base we were staying at or the compound we're staying at. So he would get on. He was a more senior dude than me, so he was in charge of me and getting us over there. So he would call our sergeant major and be like, "Hey, this is the situation. What do we need to do?" And he was like, "You just need to wait. You just need to wait." So we waited for 14 days from El Sad, and we were kind of like just fending for ourselves. And there are the army convoys that will come up and be like, "Hey, who's going to Ramadi?" I'm like, "Dude, let's go. Let's jump on that." He's like, "No," because the sergeant major said, "Whatever you do, do not convoy to Ramadi." Now I understand why, because the ID threat was so high. And at the time, like I took the Marine Corps Army rivalry very personal. Like I did not want, like, didn't I did not want anything to do with the Army. And we walk up to the truck and talk to them, and they had like gold grills in their mouth and all that. I'm like, "Dude, well, I'm not, even if we had to, I don't think I'm gonna go up there, man. You know? I'll find a different way, you know."
So funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
Mhm.
you're would you say that this is very an organized, like, did you felt this was organized, or did you feel like this was kind of disorganized type of situation and you were left trying to figure everything out for yourself?
Oh, disorganized for sure.
That's what I figured. Well, I mean, it's so new. There's no,
Yeah. If I wanted to, I could probably hung out in Al Sad for God knows how long, but however, that was the NCO I was with. He kind of knew what was going on because this is his third deployment. So so he knew what was going on. He got things done, which he should have, because he was the NCO. And then we just were waiting in line because we would show up to like this wooden warehouse, and they would call off people's names, and they would get helicoptered in or flown into where they needed to go.
Okay. All right. So you were helicoptered in then, right?
Yep.
All right.
2 Chinooks.
All right.
How was that?
That was awesome. I love helicopters. Absolutely love them. And it was at night, and it was kind of like a realization. It was the corporal and I were the only Marines on those 2 flights, on those 2 choppers. And it was at night, and you looked at the gunners out there, and they're on nods, on night vision. And I was like, wow, this is freaking real. This is.
Did you guys take up any fire when you were flying out? No.
Nope, not at all.
All right.
Not at all. Oh. And yeah,
Were you straight laced this whole time, or were you drinking in the beginning when you got out there?
Oh, to Iraq?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Was not drinking. Just
so nobody,
chewing.
So nobody drinks or anything like that. Everyone's pretty straight laced.
Yep. Just smokes and chewing tobacco.
Yeah,
that's what I lived on.
Only, pretty much.
Yep. Okay.
Probably for the best.
Oh, without a doubt.
Sure. I just didn't know if it was the type of thing where people
you don't want to wake up with a hangover and like, oh shit, I got to fight today.
Yeah.
That would. Oh, yeah. I mean, you hear about it. You hear about it. You hear about people smuggling some like booze or whatever, but nah, I didn't. I was too scared of what they would do to me if they found out that I was drinking. So
you're more scared of that than actually fighting in the war.
Yeah, literally.
So do you remember the first time you fired your gun when you were in Iraq?
Yeah. So I spent 14 days in El Sad, and then we flew into Ramadi. They were kind of figuring out where to place me because the platoon that I originally belonged to, they were out and about doing stuff, and they wanted like a acclimatization of it. I'm like, bro, I've been in country 14 days. Like, just get me out, get me doing something. I want to go out. I want to be part of the mission. And they're like, well, you'll get your time. And again, I just kept riding the platoon sergeant to ask, like, hey, because I was in headquarters platoon. And I'm like, no, I want to be in a legit platoon. They're like, well, you're going to be a gunner on a Humvee. Let us teach you how to do that job. I was like, okay, cool. And I saw the platoon sergeant that I was going to go with, that they were going to place me in their platoon. And I was like, hey, I hear you guys are going on a mission tonight. Can I go with? They're like, yeah, it should be a pretty basic, simple we call them OPs, observation points, where we just babysit the road or the intersection and catch anyone with IEDs. And they just got back. When I got the first day that I saw them, when I flew into El Sad, it was like 3 a.m. So I had to wait till the next morning to see everybody. But when I came back, they were just talking about how they just got into this firefight, and that really, I'm like, oh man, like there's gonna be again, I worry like there's gonna be no more war.
Yeah, right.
A couple days gonna end up, it's gonna be done, know. And so went on the observation point. We had this enormous night vision scope. It was like heat seeking scope, so you could see heat at night. And that's when I attached on my M16. And I was so excited that I could finally go out on a mission with them. And I was like, hey, I ain't getting off this roof. I ain't getting off this roof till till we shoot somebody. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, you're going to be up there for a while. Cause they're already 2 months in country. They know that like combat is very sporadic. Like it could happen for a week straight. Then 2 months, you'll be cold. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, at least I'm just going to try. And then 6 hours into it, we got a heat signature of some dude in a building, like maybe 200 meters from us, and he was on his phone. And I'm like, hey, you seen this over here? And they're like, yep, I'm seeing it. And during that night also, like, keep in mind, this is my first time in a war zone. I don't know what to listen for. I don't know what to look for. And I'm sitting up there on the roof, and then all of a sudden we hear these like swooshes coming over us. I'm like, what the is that noise? And they're like, oh, that's them firing rockets. I'm like, what? We're getting fired at rockets? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I see the guy on his cell phone, and we thought that guy was calling in for the fire. So, and then that we eliminated that man, and that was it.
Part of
that was the first time.
That was the first time you fired.
All right.
Yep.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Were you scared or no?
No, not because he didn't know that there was 3 dudes with belt-fed machine guns like pointed at him just right up the street. So
roughly how many yards were you from him?
Maybe 100 to 200 in between. It was like it was like across the street.
Yeah, gotcha. Wow. Mm-hmm.
But you saw the target actually go down and everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like it was there, and then when we finished shooting, he was no longer there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was it quiet then after that, or did other activity pick up?
Yeah, it was quiet after that.
Right. So do you think he was in connection with those rockets you were hearing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was really bizarre, really weird, because we didn't hear the initial like firing of the rocket or anything. I just heard a swish. I'm like, what is that? And they're like, that's probably someone shooting rockets at us. I'm like, the fuck? And we didn't hear it.
Did you hear the rockets hit
no
or explode? Okay.
No, not at all.
You just hear them traveling.
Yep, just heard them traveling. And then because at night when you're on a rooftop in Ramadi at the time, like you could see mortars, like you could see the insurgents firing mortars, which are like small, 120 millimeter explosives that they shoot. And you could see the flash from the initial launch, and then you could see the flash from it hitting.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, and that was like the first time I was exposed to like the Iraqi culture or whatever. And
I was like, hey, we could talk about that too.
They're like, hey, go up on the roof. I was like, all right, cool. Went up on the roof, and the first thing I saw was a toilet on the roof, just a toilet. I'm like, holy crap, they got toilets on the rooftops? Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's
back home.
I was like, this is legit.
Yeah.
Talk about convenience.
Yeah.
So right. I pissed in it a couple times, and then and then I realized I'm stepping in water. I'm like, where the man. Yeah. I was like, that's just a toilet chilling on the roof. They don't have freaking plumbing that go up to the roof. And, So that was my I guess first exposure. And then the family that was in the house they were pretty cool. They were nice. They made us tea. I can only imagine what they were initially thinking, because a bunch of American dudes come in and kind of take over. However, they were extremely welcoming, and they understood why we were there.
Yeah.
You know, just because at the time Zarqawi was pretty much running the Anbar province.
Yeah.
He was he started, correct me if I'm wrong, but he started the Iraq ISIS, and but he was pretty much running amok, very violent dude, and that's what
Yeah.
and that's what we're there for.
And the locals were aware of that. Obviously, it was good for their country. So.
Yep. So
what?
After,
I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, because after we would leave these houses, like minutes after that, ISIS and Al Qaeda would knock on the door and question the family, and then sometimes ending up killing the family. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were in constant.
Did you guys
danger.
wait until after you left? Did you post up to kill them? No.
No.
I just didn't know if you were aware, these members would come back, if they would then become targets or something like that.
Yeah, some of them did. Fortunately, we never heard of the ones that we protected. We didn't hear about any Al Qaeda, ISIS coming and lobbing their heads off, because they didn't know if they directly help us or not.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
were you ever did you have to be ordered to use your firearm, or could you fire at will?
Obviously, we had rules of engagement. Pretty much, if we're fired upon, then we could shoot. Or if a guy's running down the street with an RPG, pretty much a rocket launcher. I mean, something that's really a blunt, but you can't just walk up and just
you would see that shit.
People just running, with their weapons.
With like a rocket launcher or something.
Yeah. There are times. I mean, they're pretty brazen. They're very smart. They could work with their hands when it came to the IED, building their IEDs. However, they're very stupid when it comes to that. And I don't know if it was just because they didn't realize even in the Marine Corps, we're getting like Vietnam hand-me-downs of like when it comes to technology, of our night vision capabilities and stuff, but it was more than what they had. And that's why we were able to just mash them.
Yeah, it seemed to be a problem. You hear it in news a lot about the military early on in the war, because we went in there was around 2002, right?
Yeah, initially 2000. Well, they're in Afghanistan like a week later.
Right away, yeah. But in Iraq, it was like roughly around 2002, right?
Around there. 2000. It was March of 2003, I think, is when the invasion popped off. But don't quote me on that. But not sure. But it was around there. Yeah.
You would hear a lot of stories about the military not getting adequate equipment and everything else. It was just.
I mean, Marine Corps, we're used to that, man. We're used to make it work. Make it work. Like, I ain't got no weapon. We'll find one.
Yeah. Make a slingshot.
But I can only imagine, I mean, the lack of logistics when you're first initially going into a country. That would probably be a nightmare, So, but Marine Corps is used to that.
How did you communicate when you were in these households? I mean, was there any person who kind of translate, or was this all off of feeling and just acknowledgement and meeting these, tell us a little about that, because you can't communicate, right?
Yeah, how well do you speak English?
Yeah, we brought in our interpreter. Interpreter will go with us everywhere, including those small operations like that.
So you had a lot of interpreters out there helping.
Yeah.
And they helped locals?
Yep, helped us out tremendously, and threw their lives on the line every single time, because a lot of interpreters, they would leave and then they won't come back because they were just executed.
They were killed.
Yep, for helping us.
Did we do a good job of protecting our translators?
I mean, a lot of because they got a family out and about on the city, so they use this as their job. However, they needed to go and take care of their family, and did the best we could, but we gave them a heads up, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't leave the base. Okay. Like, well, too bad. They did. Yeah. And they didn't come back,
Yeah, they had their own stuff to deal with, so.
Oh, gosh.
Do you know, how'd they vet these interpreters? Like, make sure the guy was legit and not just screwing you over.
No clue.
Yeah.
Don't know. Don't know.
You're just putting it.
Well, we were paying them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But.
Yeah. Good question. So there was this one interpreter. He was a black dude. He was big, and he had Marine camis on. He had a freaking gunnery sergeant insignia on his flak. So I thought he was a gunny. And then I was like, no, man, that's our interpreter. That's not a gunny sergeant, because gunny is like E7 or E6 in the Marine. Yeah. E7 in the Marine Corps, or E6. Okay. So a high-ranking staff NCO. Like, no, that's their interpreter. I'm like, how do you get that gunny chevron? Like, I don't know. I'm like, all right.
Took it off the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. That's all I can think of.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. But
now they're laying in the street.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about the surroundings there real quick, just to kind of paint a picture for everybody. Is it real dirty? Mm-hmm. Is it real dusty? Is it nasty? Does it smell like shit? Is the food at all edible? Just like the basics.
Was it like 29 Palms?
Yeah, right.
The only difference between 29 Palms and Ramadi, Iraq was there ain't big pools of shit and piss in the middle of the street.
Now, is that 29 Palms or is that in Iraq?
No, I know, right? That was Iraq. I mean, Iraq didn't, I mean, it's third world country. Ramadi was one of Saddam's favorite cities. So I want to say it got kind of better care compared to other cities. Oh. It was about the size of 400,000 people in the city. It was an urban environment. So, I mean, there's cement roads. Okay. There is infrastructure very poorly. However, like, I mean, everything was just blown to shit and there was no running water. People would be butchering their cows right on the street, you know, and it was just insane.
Blood, guts, straight up butchering the cow, hanging them up from the street post or whatever.
Wow. Yep. And it was right next to the Euphrates. So that was pretty cool to see that. And just the overall history.
Did they have like street food and like people making food and stuff like that you could purchase, or how did that work?
Yeah, so we didn't go there. All right. I mean, yeah, they had food, but we ain't gonna buy that. God knows what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, they would sell us cigarettes. I'd buy cigarettes from them, buy them chew from them. There would be like grasshopper legs and shit in a can of chew when you open it.
Oh, really?
But I was like, hey, yep, $20 is $20, man. I can't be complaining, you know. But I mean, yeah, other than that, it was pretty cool. Oh, and the humongous, like, there was no sewage, so there was just puddles of just shit and piss, and everywhere? That smelled. Oh, yeah. And it's, I shouldn't say everywhere, but in certain areas.
Over it. There wasn't like designated areas. It was kind of wherever, free for all.
No, man. I remember because the guy was like, he was like ducking behind this wall. And I remember like, I'm going to fucking shoot this guy. Mm-hmm. And it turns out he was just shitting. He was just taking a shit. I'm like, oh man.
Just like right there randomly.
Right there in front of everyone and God. And here I am thinking he's a peeker, you know?
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was gross. It was a gross environment.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
You know, like, I mean, it didn't feel like, welcoming.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Not a lot different than San Diego.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Gosh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how did like the people that like so in the homes, same type of situation, you know, they have just kind of a designated type of bathroom area that they would make in their homes, or they go outside of their buildings to
rooftop.
Use a bathroom? Yeah.
Yeah, on the roof, they got a toilet up on the rooftop. No, they had a bathroom, but it would not be out of character for someone just to take a dump in the front yard or whatever, you know, whatever's available. Yeah. It's a third world country, man, you know. I mean, they're trying, but at time of war, the infrastructure just shut down.
Yeah, it's even worse though at that period of time.
Who constructed those original buildings? I mean, was that by the government, or is there any type of central, you know, government? Like these buildings that you went into, or like the first guy you encountered and shot down?
I have no clue. No clue who built them. And they had bridges, walkways, everything over like the main roads. And they, I don't know how they did or who did it.
Yeah, it's an old country though. It's not like you look at compared to like.
So those could be hundreds of years old, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they just live in poverty. So,
yep,
they just do whatever they can do. It's not like here.
Now it's they're turning Ramadi into like a tourist destination.
Oh, really?
And they got like a 5-star hotel over there now, and it's a completely different
place.
I want to go there, and
that'd be.
I was talking about. Yeah. Have a 25 reunion over there, you know what I'm saying? Over in Ramadi.
I know like a lot of Vietnam vets went back to Vietnam years later. To see like Saigon and different different parts of the country. And that obviously changed. So it'd be interesting to do that. So you're gonna head over there?
Eventually. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. And it's just seeing pictures of like the nightlife and people out and about. There's buildings that aren't completely decapitated. And
yeah, it's changed. Obviously, you guys did good over there. So
yeah,
yeah.
we were over there in 06, and then the unit came that from 06 to the next time we're over there was completely different. So they went over there again, was their next push over to Ramadi, and it was completely pacified. And we had this building called 7th Story where the face was kind of blown apart, and they completely rebuilt it. And they were actually getting some infrastructure back in the city. Oh, and that was back in 08.
So how long were you in Ramadi the first time, or were you there just once?
I was there for 4 months.
4 months straight, huh?
4 months, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you do not receive regular briefings each day about what's going on, especially as like a grunt, correct?
No, I mean, we would have our missions and stuff where we would figure out what's happening in the city, regardless. I mean, what units got hit, where they got hit, but other than like what's going on, I didn't really pay any attention, to tell you the truth. And it was during, I mean, we had elections going on as well, right. But we didn't. I didn't tell you the truth. I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, it's just survival at that point, right?
Well, yeah. It's like if you're playing a football game, you don't really care what the rest of the league is doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the biggest thing, like if I think about this, I was immature back then. Like if I went there now, I would not leave the freaking radio holler, the talk where the radio is, where everyone is, who's out and about, the maps, all that. I would not leave there because I would want to know what's happening, who's getting into what, where they at. But our NCOs and our platoon sergeants and company commanders would just brief us on what's happening.
Were you allowed to ask any type of questions about stuff, or was it you just take orders?
I mean, yeah, we could ask questions, but I was just too nervous to ask them because why
ask?
why do I need to ask them?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. God, that's so crazy.
But like I said, if I went back then now, like it would be a completely different ball game. Completely different. My mindset would be different. Be more mature because I'm in a freaking war zone, and I'm like, I just wanted my cigarettes, man. Cigarettes and dip. That's all I thought about.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of that, I'm a cigarette smoker. Did they fly you in tobacco, or did you have to buy everything local?
Every once in a while, like my sister and my mom did a fantastic job of just sending cartons and cartons of cigarettes and rolls of dip over. However, up to that point, I didn't care. Like, yeah, go get me a pack of Iraqi Marlboro Reds. Those were actually not bad cigarettes. I don't smoke now, but Marlboro Reds were my thing, and they're actually, I mean, they did the job.
Cowboy
even
killers,
though,
man.
Yeah, even though there was grasshoppers.
That's the most cigarette.
That's the original one, right?
That's the true cigarette.
Yeah. And however, I'd smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and drink like a fish, and I was able to run a 20-minute and 10-second 3-mile.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like the Beastie Boys.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that wouldn't happen now. Like I tried smoking a cigarette the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this.
Yeah. Just look at the thing, your lungs start to hurt, you know?
Oh yeah, big time.
Right on.
Do you remember the first time you witnessed losing a member, like somebody in your platoon?
So when I was getting ready, when I was still on crutches and surgery, we started getting KIA reports because with 3-7 being over there, and the platoon I was in was made up of all 3-7 dudes, but they're a Kilo company, Lima company, and my company, which was India. And they're like, hey, we got a first KIA. Who's going to the funeral type thing? And then the first KIA out of my company was Escobar, and I went to his funeral. And that was extremely hard to just be sitting there, you know, on crutches, like, hey, look at me. I'm at US of A while my freaking buddies are dying over there.
Yeah.
And it just fed me more to get over there.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's crazy.
Yep. But up until that point, we didn't have any KIAs. When I was there, Corporal Spears, he was shot in the head by a sniper by the time, like the day before I left. So they were planning his funeral back at stateside while they were sending me over.
Oh, wow.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And you, like you just said, that didn't cause any fear in you. That made you want to get out there more, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had the mindset like, yeah, it may happen to them, but it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah. Well, that's a good mindset to have.
Yeah, especially going into the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until it does happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, how many tours did you do over there?
Just one.
Just the one tour, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. When people ask me like, "Oh, how long were you in the Marine Corps?" I'm like, I don't know, 1.5, 2 years. Long. And I don't tell them anything after that, and they look at me like, "Yeah, okay, all right." Must have been kicked out. I'm like, negative.
Yeah. Negative. Yeah. So you want to walk us through that that incident that you were involved in?
Well, before we get to the incident, I want to know: did you have any before that? Any what was the a moment that stuck in your mind? Because clearly that's going to be one of the most detrimental experiences, etc. But was there anything that you remember in the battlefield or just out and about that really stuck out to you that you're like, I got to share this? Is there anything pre that either scared you or you remember, or was just even if it's something violent going on within the state,
No, just the toilet on the rooftop, man. That's all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's all pretty kind of straightforward type of weird shit.
Talk back to tell my buddies about the toilet on the rooftop. Exactly. Look at this.
So, that's sad.
Hey, honey, I want to put a toilet on the rooftop. Like, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, no, not. I mean, yeah, other than that, just run of the mill stuff.
So pretty normal. So
yeah.
Now rolling to your accident, what went on with you? So that really was the new 180 moment after getting there. Yeah. So nothing weird or anything out there happened prior to that. No. It was very kind of straightforward and what you expected to be going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So this took you by complete surprise.
Oh, without a doubt. And
about on day one of that morning, just a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'll start a little earlier. Like a week prior, I just got this violent knot in my stomach that something is not right. Something is going to happen. And I just didn't know what. So, and that knot just got worse and worse throughout the week. And then February 25th, 2006, I wake up in the morning and I'm sitting there smoking a cigarette next to the Euphrates and just thinking about the day. And someone was telling me hey, because I was scheduled to drive. Something was telling me hey, you need to get on the gun. You need a gun today. So we got our mission brief. I'm going out to the truck. I see my buddy Anna Van Alstyne, and he's got the machine gun on his shoulder. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I gun today? And he's like, no, not at all. So he gave me the gun and he drove. And so we went out and did our thing. We were a mobile squad. We were a mobile squad, so we drove around the area. Well, I ate before this. My bad.
Yeah, it's all good.
And so we drove around the area where they were conducting the raid or the cordon knock, make sure no one's planning any ambushes. And there was 2 mobile squads out that day. And we get a call over the radio and they're like, hey, Humvee's been blown up. We need people yesterday. So when they were talking about what was happening to the Humvee, all I'm picturing in my mind was fuck, we're going to see dead Marines. We're going to see mangled Marines, all that shit. And we pull up to where we were and it was along this road called Nova. I can't remember the street in Ramadi where there was the courtyard. I think it was Nova, and I want to say it was maybe Firecracker or something like that. And we saw the Humvee. The whole front end was completely gone, the engine gone. And the 2 Marines that were inside the Humvee were actually able to get away.
Oh wow!
But unscathed, just a little shooken up. And I knew, I'm like, man, we're going to be sitting here. We have to wait for EOD, but EOD is always busy. So we had to wait on the Army's EOD to come out and get us. And I'm thinking man, this is going to be a long day because while we're sitting there for hours, damn well that the insurgents are calling up their homeboys saying, hey, this is where they're at. Get on your bombs. If you want to come and get them, this is where they are. And then we started seeing a pattern of the same vehicles driving by. I'm like, man, yeah. And then all of a sudden, this black Mercedes rolls up and just starts unloading on one of our Marines, Mahalo. However, Anthony Mahalo did what he needed to do. He immediately started returning fire, even though he was getting shot at like wide open. And we think we killed the dudes that were in the car, but they're able to drive away. And after that, Mahalo now stood on the right side of the door because he was on the wrong side of the door. So of course he was open, you know what I mean? So it was a tough lesson for him to learn. And then that right there, I was like, man, now we're in it. We're in it. It's going to be a long day. And a couple hours later, the EOD finally came out, lifted up the Humvee, and we're off. We were staying at this place called Blue Diamond, which is right across the Euphrates from Camp Ramadi or Hurricane Point, the other two military posts in Ramadi. So while Ramadi's on the east side of Euphrates, I want to say Camp Ramadi's on the west side. So there's a lot of trucks, 15 to 20 trucks rolling. And we had to take up the rear truck because their machine gun was malfunctioning. So we had to take up that position. So we're now a rear truck. Van is driving. Corporal Zanudo is our vehicle commander. We had a corpsman in the back seat, Doc Jacobs, and we had a Marine, Woolham, in the back passenger seat. We're rolling, and then all of a sudden we take a turn, and I'm like, "What the fuck are we doing, man? Let's just stick with the main road, the main element." But we left. Well, we made a turn, and I remember looking at like this brick wall and thinking like, wow, that's actually a well-constructed brick wall. And then just seeing white, just white light, but I'm still able to think. And I feel myself spinning and flipping in the air. And I'm like, man, we just hit a roadside bomb. It's literally what I thought. And I just said to myself, just sit still till you hit the ground and then react. So I just attempted to stay in whatever sitting position I was in. And then I heard like this, I'm looking like floating above the scene, and I hear this like most horrific yell I've ever heard in my life. And I start falling towards the scene. I see my body, I fall into my body, and I wake up. And I wake up, takes a couple seconds to realize that I'm laying on the ground. Try to move my head. I cannot move my head because the Humvee was like stuck on my head, and the only thing that was really keeping it ahead was my Kevlar helmet. So I unbuckled my helmet, looked down, and I saw my leg at a like perfect 90-degree angle. And I thought to myself, like, wow, wait till my friends and family get a load of this one. Because 6 months prior, I'm at my mom's house on pre-deployment leave. I come out of the bathroom, and she's just like, you know what, Ben, I'm really nervous about you deploying. I'm scared. I'm like, Mom, what's the worst that can happen? I'll lose a leg. It's no big deal. She's like, don't you ever say that again. So I saw my leg like that, and I'm like, well, lost it. Cool. Okay. And then I look up and I see my buddy, Van Elstein, the driver, which I was supposed to be. He was dead. You could just tell he was dead. He was covered in black soot. He had no legs, and I'm yelling for his name, and he's gone. And then someone starts yelling for Zanudo, and I did not hear anything too, so I thought he was dead. And then someone started yelling at me, like, who's that yelling there? I'm like, it's fucking Lunak. You need to get me out of here. And these two Marines came up. Of course, what did they do? They pulled my leg, straightened it out, and then pulled me out from underneath the Humvee. And at that time, I started feeling some heavy, heavy pain. And I remember them carrying me, and the corpsman's calling in whatever they need. They popped a red flare. That's a signal saying like, we're in trouble. We need help like yesterday. And they, I remember Corporal Fulbright, he looked at, he's like, who the fuck is that? And they're like, it's Lunak. And he's like, get him in that fucking house. And they brought us into this courtyard. And that's where our mass casualty collection point was. They took off my I took off my body armor, and they cut off my clothes, and I'm just covered in blood. My torso is, and they rolled me over, and there was like a 4x4-inch piece of Humvee sticking out of my back. The corpsman, Matthew Sullivan, he was our corpsman that day. He thought it nicked my kidney, and he thought that's where all the blood was from. And little did I know, my pelvis was completely blown apart where your sacrum or your tailbone meets your pelvic wing. Yeah. It's called the iliac crest. I cannot pronounce it correctly, but that was completely severed. Had no idea that my liver was lacerated, colon was lacerated, my spleen was ruptured. And yeah, no idea that was happening, but all I felt was pain. And when they set me down, the first thing I asked the doc, because you see in the movies, you know, you're like, you see him asking like, hey, is my balls okay? Do I still have my balls? That's what I was asking. I'm like, how my balls look? And Sully's like, your balls are fucking fine, okay?
Don't worry about your balls.
Yeah, you know, it's like you got bigger problems right now.
Yeah.
But they quick reaction force came. Sully then did life-saving measures on trying to get Zanudo and Van to work. I didn't know what happened after that until later. And then they loaded me in the Humvee along with the corpsman that was in the back driver's seat. His legs were pretty fucked up, but he was going to be okay. And we went off to Camp Ramadi, and they put me in my buddy's arms, and I tried to smoke a cigarette. I couldn't smoke a cigarette because I later found out that my lungs were collapsed, and we were just going like a bat out of hell just to get to Camp Ramadi and to Charlie Med, which was the main hospital, the trauma facility for Ramadi. And that was extremely painful. And you want to talk about fear, that's when I was really scared, because I'm like, yeah, I can maybe walk this one off, but if we get hit again, like, there ain't no way I'm going to be making it. So I just kept praying to God, like, just get me through this. And they went to Charlie Med. They already had our beds and stuff waiting for us outside. They load us onto there, and I remember my leg just like spaghetti, like a wet noodle. Yeah. There's nothing holding it. And I remember the nurse like just picking it up, just calm face and everything, just picking up, putting it back on there, and I'm sitting there like cursing and yelling at her, and she's like, just shut the fuck up, because it was
I'm sure high.
Yeah, I'm sure I wasn't the nicest person at the time.
Needless to say.
But you still had your balls.
Yep, still have my balls, you know.
Seriously. Ben, were you the only survivor?
So they brought me up onto the table. Remember, the doc was like, yo, we need to get this guy to the OR. And I guess I looked 3 to 4 months pregnant, 5 months pregnant, because I had such severe internal bleeding in my abdomen. And he was like, holy shit, I talked to that guy later, and he said that he thought there was no way I was going to make it home. He did not think. And I was like, yo, saw his face. I was like, do you mind if I go to sleep? Because they always teach us, like, be careful taking morphine and do not go to sleep until you get to the hospital, because you will not wake up. So I think I took one morphine or 2 morphines or that, but I made sure, like, because I wanted to go to sleep, and the doc was like, yeah, you can finally go to sleep. And then that's when they put me in a 14-day medical induced coma, and that's when I woke up.
So you were put into a coma for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a bizarre experience, man. I don't know if any of y'all been in a coma before, but it is so bizarre.
Do you remember anything from like being under? It's just kind of like, you know.
Yeah.
All right. What
kind of
experience was that?
It's training to be an FBI agent. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
So you were, in a sense, dreaming while in this coma, but conscious of the dreams that were going on?
So like alternate reality going on.
Yeah. Have you guys seen The Sopranos? And there's an episode in there where Tony is in a coma. Yeah. And it was like that. It was a very bizarre experience.
Wow.
Oh, it got to the point where when I did wake up from the coma that I was fucking pissed, because it remembered what happened. You know what I mean? I was no longer training to be FBI's elite.
Did you just get to the FBI, by the way?
What's that?
Right. I said, did you make it into the FBI?
No, I
still in training when he was under. Still in training. Never even got,
never
got to take it.
Yeah.
Never went back.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Was Hoover in charge at that point?
Who knows at that point when I was thinking,
So you could remember that training for
crazy.
the FBI. You would kind of remember like very detailed, like.
Wow. Absolutely.
Did it feel like a dream afterwards, or did it feel like a full-on memory?
It's such a bizarre experience because there was times where I would like kind of come into it and I would see all these people watching over me, like looking down on me. And then I would go back into it. But when I woke up and I fully woke up, it felt like I was just ran over by a freaking train.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was mentally and physically just gone, just done.
Yeah.
Done.
It's interesting because science. I was listening to a bunch of physicists recently. They were talking about, and actually Stephen Hawking's talked about this, the idea of alternate realities within this field, and they kind of explain it like the experience you had, like so why you're waiting for your body to rest in this reality, you were in a different reality, but in this case you're an FBI agent or at least trained. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that the same goes for war too, because the experience that I had completely different from what Sully had, from what Doc Jacobs had, from what my buddy Pleiss had.
Yeah,
holding me in the back of the fucking Humvee. You know what I mean? Oh, everything is different. Because Sully and I talked afterwards, like years later, and we talked about like, yeah, this is what I experienced. He's like, holy shit. He's like, I don't even remember doing that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
You know?
As far as that goes, like when you came to and you're there, did you have a chance to say, hey, Doc, like, during this coma, I was like very much so in this other world. Did you mention that at all? Or was it not even a thing you talked about?
No, that was gone. Like all happiness was secured at this point in time in my life. And it was just done. So I was pissed off.
They tell you how much longer or how much recovery you have left? What did they kind of say?
They told me, they're like, hey, we don't know if you're going to make it or not. And so we're just taking it a day-by-day basis. And I was like, well, how about my fucking leg? Because that is still attached to me. Like, I thought y'all were going to amputate it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we wanted to give you a choice. I'm like, choice? Look at it. Like, I can't move it. I can't feel it. It's no longer a part of me. You need to cut it off. And he's like, huh. Well, let me tell you, if you do try to save it, you're going to have 30 more operations alone on your leg, not counting the internal stuff that you have. You're going to be walking with a cane for the rest of your life. You're going to be addicted to pain pills. And my father was addicted to pain pills, and I did not want that experience. I did not want to be like that in front of him. I'm like, what's the quickest way to get me out of this fucking bed? And he's like, amputate. I said, good, let's do it. Get it done. He's like, oh, okay.
Hey, you were willing to amputate because you broke your ankle.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
I know. I'm like, now it's official. You know?
Oh, wow.
No hesitation. You knew exactly.
That's like,
take it off.
That's a mind-blowing decision to people that never anywhere near it. It's just, but you just say it like, yeah, just take it off.
Can we go back?
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, because that's what it was. That was it. Done.
You're in,
yeah, done.
Can we go back to the moment when you said you saw that white light and I don't know, I don't think you said it this time, but in something I was watching on you earlier, you had that ear ringing and you remember the screaming and you kind of coming back too. So would you say you had a total out of body experience?
Without a doubt.
Can you talk about it a little bit more? Was it all too quick? Was it all too fast? Do you remember anything else about that experience or that? Like, could you see the surroundings or could you only see yourself screaming and yelling? Was it only you or was it the entire aerial view, like you were a drone?
So it was like I was shot up and then I was literally just floating above the
whole incident.
The incident,
like your astral body, essentially.
Yep.
You were above yourself.
Yep. Like I was gone. When I was dying. I was going to heaven. And for some reason, God was like, not today. And
did you force yourself back in? Was that a conscious force back in?
No, man. Just fucking just fell and then boom was in the moment right there. It was really so a floating sensation above, hear the yelling, and then I'm thinking like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And go down. see my body, and then I just fall right into my body, and that's when I like woke up, and yeah,
started realizing what was.
Was that a crazy experience for you? That portion,
no,
knowing that, or was that nothing? Did you not really focus on that idea of it, like
I didn't.
seeing yourself, from above and stuff?
Yeah, I didn't focus on that until, until years later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was survival. It was your body. Yeah, 100%. Wow.
It was game on.
I was just wondering kind of how that felt, because like what you were talking about was just reminded me so much of these out of body experiences that we've heard shared about, and that's got to be knocking yourself back in.
There was no pain. I was not in any pain.
Yeah, you mentioned that. You said you didn't feel the pain until they straightened out your leg, and actually.
Well, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm surprised it didn't come off that. Can you imagine? Like pull the leg and like my foot comes off? Oh my gosh, that would have
been. Glad you can laugh about that.
Yeah, I know.
You also mentioned, God put you back in. Were you ever religious before you started this, or were you never a religious guy before you?
I was Catholic. I didn't really understand much.
Catholic?
Yep, I was raised Catholic, and just say some Hail Marys and Our Fathers, and I didn't meet Jesus until 2012. So I still believe. I knew there was a God. I believed in Jesus and all that, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand it.
Then you actually really met. All right, that's what it's like now.
So you're going back to the hospital, and you're saying, God, just keep me alive, right? So were you were very much in a state where you felt like you were talking to kind of a higher self or a greater power out there?
Yeah, without a doubt, because who else is going to help me?
Yeah.
My buddy's not going to help me. Yeah. Like he was the only thing that I could count on at that time. That was the only person I could talk to, because no one else was going to save me. Yeah. No one. Because I knew I was in rough shape, but I didn't know how much. Like, if I was second guessing, like I could walk this one off, but if we're gonna get hit one more time, I'm done. Like, that was it. Yeah. Like, I had to talk to somebody, and he was the only one that was there that I was able to talk to.
Oh.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, from when you woke up 14 days later at the hospital, what was the recovery like in the rehab? Like, that was
because you're doing that in Iraq, right?
That was probably far worse than 3 months of boot camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, yeah. So, so when I woke up, I still had the tubes in my mouth and all that. And once they pulled it out, I was like, "Hey, my vocal cords were paralyzed, so I sounded like the Godfather, Michael. So I could not talk at all." And I was like, "Hey, what year is it? What date is it?" And they're like, "Well, it's March 7th, 2007. I'm like, holy shit, I've been out for a year. I was thinking that. I was like, huh, all right.
Yeah, right.
Cool. Yeah. And then the first person I saw was my dad. My dad came in, and we were just happy to see each other. We're both crying. And then another doctor came. My mom came in. That's when I brought up my leg. I'm like, yo, what's up with the leg? We got to get rid of it, type thing. Mm-hmm. And the doctor came in, and that's what they did. And rehab, I still had 3 months of general surgery, because they didn't know if I was going to make it. I remember telling the doc, I'm like, yo, just do whatever you have to do to keep my fucking heart going, okay? I'll take care of the rest. You do your part, okay? And we had a goal that in July that I would walk my sister down the aisle at her wedding. So I brought that up, and they're like, hey, we don't know if you're going to make it, let alone be walking, because you are, you could be in a wheelchair by then, but you ain't going to be walking. I'm like, well, this guy obviously doesn't know my heart, doesn't know my drive, doesn't know my determination. And so I had 3 months. It was March. I had 3 months of general surgery where I'd go in because my insides were just a wreck. And they finally took care of that, went to Walter Reed. I made the mistake of, well, I'll get to that in a little bit, but went to Walter Reed and learned how to walk again. That was very, I want to say it was challenging at first, but when you have dudes and women next to you who have no limbs, and all I have is a freaking single leg below the knee amputation, we call it a paper cut in the amputee world. Like you get humbled really fast. Like there is no reason why I need to be complaining right now because I have all my limbs. Yeah. Person next to me, he's got no legs. Oh, that person over there, he got none. He got nothing. Doesn't have arms or legs. Wow. You know? Yeah, and so that helped me real quick, and it taught me to shut the fuck up because someone's always got it worse. And that's what it was. I remember, While I was still laying in bed, I was still all hopped up on pain medication, and I didn't want to be on it anymore. I'm like, yo, just take me off all these fucking pain meds because I'm hallucinating. You know, I'm calling my sister at freaking 2 a.m, but like, yo, there's some snipers in here. I need help type thing. And I don't remember
that level, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truly. So you were like, your mind was playing tricks on you.
Yeah, and it was very common. So they took me first they amputated it. When they put me back in ICU, my sister said I looked like the normal Ben, what I looked like before the war. Like she knew something just instantaneously changed when they took off my leg because it was just full of infection. And she said my complexion came back. I was happy, and because when I first woke up, the commandant came in. Sorry, General Hagee. He came in, put a poster up, and I'm like, take that fucking shit off. I don't want nothing to do with this. And I was just in a bad spot. And right when they amputated my leg, I'm like, hey, get that poster back up here. I want my room decked out in Marine Corps shit. I want Marines to come in and see me, all that, because they would always ask. I'm like, I want to be just submerged with Marines. And that was changed. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So when you let go of your leg, you let go of a lot of anger as well.
I was going to say.
Exactly.
Physical representation of a lot of what you gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of that before. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Easily.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's not easy letting go of a leg, but that mindset helps you let go of everything else.
Yeah.
It's hurting you. Yeah.
My mom, I got one more story.
Yeah.
My mom.
We got all day, buddy.
Yeah, I was just
okay, good. Because I got a lot of them. Yeah. My mom, they wheeled me back into ICU. My mom, after they amputated my leg, and my mom was like, "Hey, remember that conversation we had at my house?" I was like, "Yes, ma'am." She's like, "God has a sense of humor, doesn't he?" Like, yes, ma'am, Daddy does.
Oh, you love your mom for bringing that one up.
I know.
Dude, that gave me goosebumps when you just said that. Holy shit.
It was. Yeah, just be careful what you wish for or say or whatever, joke about whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I fought really hard. I don't know why I was doing this, but I fought really hard to go back to being Grand Forks, North Dakota. I thought it would be the same prosthetics. I thought it would be the same physical rehab, the same programs. No, it wasn't. We fought really hard, and they're like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Okay, well, don't say we never told you so." And of course, July came around, physical rehab. It was tough. It was hard, but in July, I was able to walk my sister down the aisle, and that was when I was discharged from the Marine Corps honorably.
All right. Well, it's obviously you were told again. Once again, people telling you what not to do or you can't do, and you did it.
Once again.
Yeah.
It seems like a big theme in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone faces the adversity,
Yeah. But not everyone goes in the direction you do.
Well, they should.
Yeah, well, that's why you're on the show. We talk about that. Because that's what we want. We want to get down to the psyche.
Yeah.
Because there is a level of that. There, like,
100%.
Why does somebody make a choice to do it? Why doesn't? And not to knock the people that don't, because we don't fully understand this to begin with. Like, but there is something there. Like you either go through the door or you don't. There's no in between in life. You have to do that. And obviously, you're the one. We're watching you do this and telling the story where you're making these decisions over and over. Everything from having to get your buddies to teach you math and English just to get into the Marines.
Yeah,
all these decisions like you want to chop your ankle off because it was broken. That's not really
typical 19-year-old Marine. Do it. I can do it. Let's go.
Come on.
God.
Yeah. Like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So after you leave the hospital and like you're out officially, are you then put on additional pain medication and additional type of medications, etc.?
I mean, they wanted to give me it, but like I said, my father, he was an addict. He was addicted to pain pills, and that eventually led to his demise. But no, I did not. They tried to. I had like plastic, like Tupperware containers of just full of thousands upon thousands of prescription pills. I'm like, no, I don't want any of that. The one thing I did do was I drank. Again, I drank a lot.
Yeah. Drank like a fish.
And how long did you drink for? Like, how long did that period last?
Long time. That was what, 2006, probably till 2011, 12, around there.
Oh, wow.
12 is when I really sealed it off. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, all right. So into that point that was like kind of when you found Jesus, so to speak, or
I was just going to connect the dots.
So
it sounded like very similar time frame.
It's like you see all these points in your life where you have to make a decision, and it seems like you do it. So can you bring us to that moment in 2012?
I mean, I was just, when it comes down to it, looking back, it was just me feeling sorry for myself, and I was just fell into that trap of what society claims like what a veteran is, and that's what I fell under. And because my veterans are committing suicide, and I'm thinking like, why the fuck are they committing suicide? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like after all the bullshit that we just went through and everything, why are our veterans still killing themselves? And that snowballed. And of course, alcohol did not help at all.
Of course.
And it was like a combination. Well, I was, because I was going to kill 2012, I was going to kill myself. It's actually a coincidence. Yeah, it was a coincidence because I'm waiting outside. There's Starbucks outside the VA down in Phoenix. Okay. So I was at the Starbucks in my truck, and I'm like, well, I got an appointment to finally go get my PTSD looked at, because I'm like, I don't have PTSD,
Denial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what?
Right?
Yeah. So, and that's when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go home and shoot myself in the face. And
you just had that clear as day thought, just like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so what clicked?
I was like, God, you better do something, because I'm actually going to go home and I'm going to do it. And I just heard a hang on. I heard an audible hang on. And that's what I did.
All right.
Wow. And I went and got help at the VA. The VA is you got to be very proactive. Like, you got to be up in their ass. Like, because I went in there, I'm like, hey, I need help. Because my psych teacher, because I don't like pain meds, I don't do any of that. And I was going to school at this time, and my psych teacher was like, hey, you should go check out EMDR. I'm like, what's EMDR? She's like, exactly. Go look into it, see if you can get it done. And it's eye movement, desensitization, reprocessing, some hippie.
Okay.
Discovered it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Fantastic program. Because that day when I went to the VA, I'm like, yo, this is what I need, and I need it now. And they're like, okay, come back next week, So I went to my first appointment, and what it is, mine was a 9-step program. But you have you talk about traumatic experiences throughout your whole life. So 9 traumatic experiences. And that first one was like, man, that was a tough session, because they bring it up, they get you up into those feelings again, and then they do something weird. I mean, it's not medication, no machine or anything. It's just eye movement. And they get you all riled up like you're back in it again, and then they release everything. And that right there was a life changer. That's when I knew, like, okay, I'm on the right track now. Let's get to work. And I found out through EMDR that my dad passing caused more trauma than what I experienced in the war.
Wow.
And finally processing through that, because my father was my hero. That's why growing up, he always talked about, like, hey, people are going to tell you can't do shit, but you need to do it anyway. And in 1997, our house was flooded and we lost everything. And my mom and him decided, like, hey, we don't give a fuck if this breaks us, but we're going to rebuild this house. While everyone else was buying out to the city, they chose to stay. They chose to rebuild literally from the ground up. And that's what they did. And watching them go through that really, I think, instilled in me the adversity aspect of my life, you know, because I mean, shit, if I didn't see that, God knows where I'd be right now. I wouldn't be talking to y'all. You know what I mean? If I didn't have that, if I didn't have that teaching. So, and seeing them go through it. And then when I got home in 2006, my father was an alcoholic. However, he was sober the first 17 years of my life. He hurt his back. And then my parents got a divorce, and then he started drinking again. And then he started taking opiate painkillers. And I remember coming home from school once, and he was just high as fuck. And I'm like, what is happening? And my mom's like, hey, we're going to take your father to rehab. I was like, okay, roger that. Yeah. And and then in 2007, he was walking, and his heart was freaking enlarged. He didn't have the best health practices, I'll tell you that much. Mm-hmm. And then I had a dream one night, and he was with my grandma that I've never met. And he told me, he's like, hey, I'm going to be okay. I'll be all right. And that was it. He was missing. He was missing. He was no longer at his apartment. We didn't know where the fuck he was at. And then that dream happened. And then I get a call from my...
How did he communicate the dream to you? Sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
Did he tell you that, or did you pick up on the dream?
No, all of a sudden, just sleep, boom, he showed up with my grandma Colleen and him, and he was dressed.
Oh, in your dream?
In my dream, yes.
Okay.
Yes, in my dream. And he was wearing like this white button-down polo that he loved to wear because he looked clean while he wore it, and he just looked great. He's like, I'm going to be okay. I'll be all right. And he just walked away. And I woke up. I'm like, fuck, he's dead. My dad's dead. I know it. And I get a call from my aunt saying, hey, the firefighter pulled a body out of this little creek. I was like, huh, okay. And then I saw a detective I knew who was like looking. It was a creek that flowed around the city. So I saw him out, and I got out, and I'm like, hey, it's my dad, isn't it? He's like, yeah, it is. I was like, okay. Thank you. And that really crushed me, because he was always like, he was one of the main, like, why are you back here? Why are you back in North Dakota? He's like, there is nothing here for you. He's like, you need to get out of this town because you look like shit. You're drinking. Like, you're going to get in some serious trouble if you don't get your shit together and get the fuck out of here. I was like, huh, okay. And he was the kind of one where I had the opportunity to go that I went. And then him dying. Anyway, sidetracked. My bad. EMDR. Yeah, it's an amazing program. I went through it twice. Amazing program. No medications, no machines, just eye movement and some intense therapy.
So this is not common for Marines to go through. Then it sounds like a different type of. It sounds like people go the pill route. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, when
a little bit.
Yeah, when it first popped off and people were starting to get wounded and coming back, I could see the VA being so overwhelmed that they're like, fuck, what are we going to do? We don't even know what to do. What can we do? And a lot of it, going through it now, a lot of it, I think, goes on the veteran. We know deep down that we should not be taking fucking 8 Xanny bars and then drinking a liter of tequila. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
How about we clean up our vices first and then move forward? Medication, yeah, I could see how it could be beneficial. But someone like me who has an addictive personality, I know damn well it ain't going to work for me. And I think at the beginning stages, there wasn't like EMDR and all these other therapies available because we didn't know what the hell was going on. We didn't know, like, when I mean we, like the VA system or society alone didn't know what to do because we didn't have this much experience.
Yeah. And just over the last 10 years, even beyond that, there's a lot more systems coming out that people are talking about to help. Yeah.
Yep, without a doubt. There are many, many programs out there.
Yeah.
You just got to find the right one that's for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One common concept on this show, Ben, that we talk about is justified grievances. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of things that society will tell us are okay because you go through something that most people don't experience, or people, have, they can see why that would lead to something like that. And your story and your situation, what you're describing today, is very much one of those situations. Like, of course, let the man drink. Like, he just got his fucking leg blown off defending this country. Yep. Did you use that and allow that story to come up in the beginning, and then you recognize that years, like when you're talking about during this 2012 time, when you're just like, no, like, what the fuck? Like, and you just touched on it, and this is why I bring it up, is like you mentioned, a moment ago, like, even though you don't want to say something in the back, you know if you shouldn't be doing something.
Yeah, my turning point was I was very involved with the Wounded Warrior Project around this time frame. And my good friend, Jason, he was like the head of the fitness department. And at the time I was doing CrossFit and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, you need to hire me. I remember we were at this event. I'm like, can you please hire me? And he looks at me and he's like, Ben, he's like, just because you're a veteran doesn't mean I'm going to fucking hire you. He's like, you need to get your fucking shit together. And that right there was like, huh, holy shit. He's right. Because I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was an asshole. You know what I mean? I'm like, because I fell into that trap where, like, yeah, of course, let him drink. His fucking team died. He lost his leg, whatever. Like, I fell right into that trap. You know what I mean? And I needed someone like Jason Martinez to come along and tell me, like, bro, you're fucked up. You need to get your shit together.
Supports that trap, wouldn't you say?
Without a doubt.
They're scared to say. It's not that they necessarily support it. They're just scared to say something. And a lot of times people that try to pander around it, they do worse harm. It's the devil is nice to you.
Yeah.
People love you are going to tell you how it is. And that's real. Those are the heroes. People that just look in your face, so you need to get your shit together.
Yeah. And that's exactly what if someone was like, man, it's okay. Of course, here's some more drinks or whatever. No, I needed that boot in my ass.
But honestly, it does take a certain level of awareness from you in order to eat. Because most people, oh, fuck you, man. You don't know what I've been through. You know what I mean? And then they go back and hit it harder.
Yeah.
Yes. God. Yes. And the only way it frustrates me because I was there, and I knew better. I fucking knew better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I thought it was, my friends are dead or whatever. I can live. I could drink because it makes me feel better and all that. When in reality, I'm not honoring them. I'm not honoring Adam Van Elstein. I'm not honoring Adam Zanuto, and I'm damn well not honoring the past fallen Marines and soldiers that put their lives on the line and died for me to come home. I'm basically spitting in their face and telling them, yo, your sacrifice wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, and then I forgot where I heard that. I heard that somewhere, like, you need to stop victimizing yourself and you need to start living, because the people who died are the ones who gave you the right to come back. So it's your right and your right only to live a life that's worth living because they did it for you.
Yeah. And we're still connected. You're still connected to these people in a different realm.
Yeah,
like how
absolutely.
You connect to your dad in the dream. And so there's something out there that we don't fully understand, but that also helps us do it. Know the people there. They're watching. They're not judging, but they're watching.
Shit, man. You sure they're not judging? I know I would be.
Yeah.
Like, shit, if I see my buddy Van living late, I'd be like, bro.
Motherfucker, get up, yeah.
But hearing this story and what you're talking about, like, oh, this is that, it gives that next guy hope, or that one who's listening, just like,
that's what it is. The stories that you tell. That's why humans, we're storytellers, and why we tell the story. We tell the story to keep this thing going. And people are like, why do we keep it going? I'm like, we don't know, but we do know this. We know it feels good. We know it doesn't. But the rest of it, we don't know. But hey, not knowing is what excites me. Heading into the unknown. It's a beautiful thing a human can do. Yeah. Hey, you went into the Marines. That's heading into the unknown. You knew with something.
That, just a little skinny white kid from North Dakota, like, hey.
Not knowing.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop running and shooting guns. All of a sudden, Price gets in your face. It's like, like, oh shit. What was I thinking?
I'm like, I never want to meet that guy again. Oh,
Ben, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and when I started speaking, and when the first time I spoke to a SWAT team, And I couldn't believe it was the first time I was extremely transparent, open on my recovery, what I went through, all that. And some of those dudes came up like, I'm going through the same shit. Oh. He's like, thank you. I needed that. Yeah. So you never know who the dude next to you or the woman next to you is going through. And you sharing that could be the stepping stone they need to hear. Like, oh man, I guess I'm not the only one, because we're so isolated now as a society.
Yeah.
And
I know you've done that for people. I know you have, man. Your story is too powerful.
Well, I appreciate that. This Vietnam veteran came up to me one time and he was like, hey, I'm a Vietnam veteran. I have my box of Vietnam shit that I had, and I sealed it when I got out of the Army back in the 60s. He's like, because I heard your story, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go and open that box and look through it again.
Wow.
I was like, holy crap. So,
what year was this when this guy met you?
Oh, 2014.
Shit. So like, since like, depending on when he got out of the war, that war lasted like 10, 11 years, but for that long he had it sealed. So you opened up. You were his therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sticks. Yeah. I still think about that guy, and if he's still out there, and man, like that was just extremely powerful. That just telling about a little bit of struggle, a little bit of adversity, and the war. I went through the war and whatever. Like how much of an influence that can have on a person's life and change it for the better. Yeah. It's incredible.
And that's you honoring your team members. You know, the men that lost their lives that day. Like, this is you honoring them. Yeah. And this is that, and they are looking down and saying, thank you, man. Like, thank you for taking this to that next step, you know, bringing this to the people. This is how you help your fellow Marine. This is how you help your fellow service members.
It's how you help. I don't care, even everybody. Service. It's a powerful story.
A lot of it is I still have survivor's guilt from Van Elstein, because I was supposed to drive, not him. And then that was a little rough at first, but then when I started thinking like that, like, okay, I can't be sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I got these two dudes that I need to represent. So that has helped me also recover, understanding that I'm living for them right now.
Yeah.
I'm living for them because they didn't get the chance. Van was 19 when he was killed. Adam Zanuto was in his early 20s. Wow. Right. And so they didn't get to live, along with the other individuals who put their life on the line in Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah. So it's
you a lot of the stories that you've talked about today, a common theme that I've at least picked up on is like this kind of connection to a higher self, and just like a very like spiritual, almost spiritual connection. Like whether this is the dream with your father and your father coming to you, whether this is that out of body experience, whether this is the FBI training and you're completely separated from your. But I mean, you like that. These are very extraordinary type of things, and you speak about them very casually. But like me as an outsider, an audience member listening into you talking about these, like, those are very powerful spiritual experiences. Can you talk about that at all in any way? Did this help you find yourself, your center, who you feel like you are today? Was this like a culmination and leading up to it? Did this help you, in a sense, find a higher power? Anything like that?
I mean, like I said, when I was sitting there mangled, there was no one else who could help me, And the same with when I was like, I'm going to go home and kill myself, that was God. And when I met my wife, she would talk about Jesus and all that. And that's what led me to him. And because I've been in experiences where literally no one can help me, literally. And then when I call for God to help me, he has helped me.
Yeah.
And what more can I say? Like that's helped me do that. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, obviously your story is just meant to continue on. That's kind of like this rolling theme, because we don't know why, your buddies died over there. It's not that they failed. It's just like this story is a really interesting story of life. But obviously, and this is how, like, when you start to listen to what you're saying, you start to have you trust and have greater faith in something beyond this point. You know.
Well, yeah, you just said that with a lot of knowing. Like I called and there was an answer. That's the first time that's ever happened. And that you sounded very sure. Very no. I know what I'm talking about when you said that. That's powerful.
Yeah, because it comes to us in those moments when we have to make those decisions, and we either choose it or we don't. And why some do and why some don't, we don't know. It's a very fascinating thing, but obviously you're teaching people when you do choose it, this is the outcome, and it's a brilliant outcome, and it's continuing. It's never ending.
Yeah,
so you're still a young guy.
Yeah, 40. I'm going 38 years old, man.
Yeah, wow, 38. All right.
Wow. So did you meet your wife in 2012 too? Then?
Yeah. So I met her. I got in 2009. No, 2010. I went to boot camp with this kid Dan, and he went to recon, and then I went to the grunts. And 2008 came around. 2009 came around. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, I'm in Seattle. He's like, "Why on earth are you there?" I'm like, "Great question." He's like, "I'm getting out. I'm out of the Corps now. Do you want to come down here to Tempe?" I'm like, "Where's Tempe?" He's like, "It's next to Phoenix, dumbass." I'm like, "Sure." I'll be there next month. And then I moved in with him. And that was actually also like a small, I guess, helped me with my recovery as well. Cause being around another Marine, combat veteran, all that. I mean, he was great. He was a great guy, great dude, very smart, unlike me. And, and he went to this gym, CrossFit Southwest. And I was like, sweet, let's go. And I got introduced to CrossFit, and that's where I met my wife, and she asked me out to sushi one night, and that was it.
The rest is history.
Is that where you met? Is that where you met Jason, our friend?
Yep.
Oh, right on. Nice.
Yep. Met him, and CrossFit Southwest. We went to the little sectionals. Well, back in the day, people didn't know. Back in the day, CrossFit, we would just have like a forum on the internet, like, "Yo, meet in this parking lot and let's compete." And that's what we literally did,
Yeah, it was very new at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Very, very underground. And it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. And then that's how we met. And that's how I got involved with CrossFit and the whole strength and conditioning side of things. So
that was another part of your therapy, or where you put your energy towards. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot you can learn in the gym, not just physically, but also mentally.
Well, that's it. I always tell people, when you choose discomfort, you learn, you grow.
Oh, yeah, you have to. In order to learn, you have, like you said, like that. Yeah. That's everything right there. When you truly understand that, that's when you're like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you choose it, if you don't choose it, it will eventually choose you. So you want to start choosing those methods. Yeah.
You want the earlier for sure.
Yeah.
You don't want it to start choosing you.
No. It's not fun when that happens.
But that's why this show is called Perspective Shift. Yeah. We want to speak with individuals who are changing the way society would normally say, hey, that's the way you should think, or guilt comes in, pain comes in, etc. We've all been taught different ways to deal with this, but there's so many other perspectives to take to help yourself surmount and get past something like that. Yeah. And oh my God, not only was your experience in the war or something like that leading up to it, after that with your father, it's like one thing after another where you had the willpower to change that perspective so life didn't swallow you.
Yeah. See, there seems to be a major theme right now in society, like you mentioned this earlier, about the world being torn apart and people becoming more isolated. But yet there's something else. Like, I joke around, and CrossFit started many years ago, and like a lot of my clients will ask me, like, why are a lot of people working out in CrossFit? I'm like, because there's a zombie apocalypse coming. You have to be ready, prepare. But it's funny because there is something there. Like, if you listen to your story from the beginning to what you told the end, what you did in some previous moment prepared you for this moment, but you have no idea this moment was going to be existed. You know, like the idea of you,
Great
like
point.
again, bringing this up again, like you told the doctor, just chop the leg off. I mean, the ankle off because it's broken. Oddly prepared you for that moment. It's like, get rid of this thing because you knew it was. I'm have to face with this thing. It's in front of me. I don't have time to think about it.
They actually listened to me the second time.
Yeah, right.
Well, the first time was a little nutty.
You still needed that ankle for a little bit.
Yeah, just
Hold
a couple
on,
more
we'll
months.
get to it.
It's like, hey, we got a live one here. He can't wait a couple of months. He's just
So, as an outsider looking in, somebody would say, by far, that's got to be the most traumatic experience of your life. And here you go and say, no, it was my dad.
Yep.
That's really powerful. You know, I mean, very few, select few get to experience what you had go on in that war. And I would say, more people would experience, the loss of a family member, especially like a parent or something like that. But during this EMDR experience is when you kind of discovered that then, Ben?
Yep. That's when, because I thought that was
played a major role in this entire healing is kind of what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. And it helped me move on. And through all the shit that I went through in my life, I always thought too, like, shit, obviously the war was the most traumatic thing that I went through. Not my father passing, but my father dying that was it. And that's what messed with me the most. And going through EMDR allowed me to recognize that.
So you didn't realize that that's what it was. Just kind of like you didn't realize you had post-traumatic stress disorder as well.
Correct. Yeah, denial, man.
Yeah.
So
most of us do.
Yeah.
In certain areas, like, wow. Yeah.
EMDR is no medication whatsoever.
No, it's just,
I'm sorry, I'm just not aware of the.
It's kind of brain.
Procedure.
Yeah, it alters your neural pathways in your brain.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're reconfiguring. There's multitudes of ways of doing it, but this is one great way of doing it. I heard it this way.
Well, a common topic on this show, Ben, is the subconscious mind, consciousness, how we experience this, what we call reality or world. And so to hear this EMDR, experience that you had, it sounded like they were going in and finding, the trauma within the subconscious mind. Would you agree with that?
Without a doubt. That's pretty much it. Right. Like you hit it right there.
In retraining and creating that new or releasing.
Yeah. Because it's almost like if you have a computer, you board up somebody, it has all this data put on it, but this not data that you need. Or it's slowing the computer down. You have to go into the hard drive and actually release it. That's what your subconscious is. So we get to release it and let go of it, kind of like the metaphor of when you let go of your leg, your sister noticed that you came back to life. It is. We're learning in this world to let go because everything is fleeting. Yep. And the greatest strength we have is to let go, and not in a minuscule way. I mean, like it's a tough thing to do is to let go, but it's all we're left with. And we do find strength in that. There's great strength in letting go.
So when I think you said his name was Jason from Wounded Warrior, is that correct? The one who kind of shook you up. So when Jason said that to you, that's not where, oh yeah, light bulb, great, of course, I'm a new man. That's when the work started.
Yeah,
right.
Yes, it was
shitty. That's been like, all right, I gotta stop drinking. I gotta, all this. Tell us a little bit about that real quick.
How long was that road?
Oh my! I mean, shit, long time. 6 years.
For you.
No, wait.
So
6 years. I would say maybe 4, 3 to 4 around there. I mean, because it's always an ongoing process.
Yeah.
He just brought me. Jason, what he said there, he just brought me to the mountain. Yeah. I had to climb the mountain.
Yes, you did. It's always up to you. That's why I mentioned your level of awareness. Because at the end of the day, anybody can tell anybody, oh, look. Yeah. You have to see it. You know that.
Yeah. And I knew deep down, like,
you can do it.
I know he's right. He's right. And it's time to
But a lot of people will bury that with these justified grievances and saying, hey, look, it's different for me. And it takes a certain level of awareness and a certain, I don't want to say personality, but a certain level of awareness to take that big step.
And by you telling your story, you actually opened the field for more people to take this step.
Exactly. Yeah. And I dare them.
Yeah.
Talk to people all the time. I'm like, I dare you
Yeah.
I dare you to take that step. Because I'm like, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
You ain't doing shit now, but feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I dare you, just get out and walk around the block twice. Let's start there. Do that a week straight and let me know where you get.
And you got to start small like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't go out and just run a marathon straight off the couch. Like
people think.
Yeah. That will shut you down.
Goggins did not go from 300 pounds and like, you know what? I'm going to run a 200 miler today. No, man.
Yeah, he actually, it was funny when he tells the story. He left the recruiting office. And he's like, I grabbed my milkshake. And I went home and he ran like a quarter mile and broke down. And he said he went home and sat on his couch and started crying.
Yep.
That was the beginning when he started, but it wasn't like overnight. Like he's like, he failed so many times before he got to lose that 100 pounds.
Yep.
And that's, and he still plays that game. You can't stop that game. It keeps going. It's like, when does this end? I'm like,
it doesn't.
Stop breathing. It doesn't. Yeah. But knowing that you have that mental capacity, the body will catch up.
Yep.
Don't let the body tell you anything. Let the mind tell the body. Like, hey, this is what we're doing today. I don't want to do it.
I mean, I do that every morning.
Yeah.
Every morning, wake up, got to work out. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Then I think about it. I'm like, fine. Okay, let's go.
Yes,
so I'm just crawling out to my garage.
So what are your like day-to-day rituals now? Like, do you meditate at all? Do you do any form of stuff like sit with yourself at all? Or you just do that grinding?
I wake up every morning between 4:30 and 5:30.
Right.
It's still quiet around the house. Make some coffee, then I read the Bible, spend some time with God.
There's your meditation.
Yep. And then work out. If I don't work out, then just get ready, go to work.
All right. Nice.
But working out is a must. My time with God and then working out are the two most. Because there's times where I'm just wake up, I'm like, just feel lazy, all that. But then I force myself to go work out. I'm like, holy cow, I feel much better.
Right.
Yeah. I have yet to work out and afterwards be like, man, I'm glad I didn't do that.
I should have slept in.
Yeah. I should have ate all them cheeseburgers last night.
Yeah. It is. It's a, it is a day-to-day thing, but it's something funny. Like even this morning I was telling Mike, I went to bed like, I don't know, 10 o'clock and, it's normal. I wake up and alarm goes off. It's about 4:30. And my wife, Karen, I must have fell asleep for like 2 minutes. She goes, hey, you getting up? I'm like, I'm going to take the day off today. And then like in 2 seconds later, I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And I jumped in the ice cold shower and then I was singing. And then I went off to the gym. And it's funny because I know, like when I said I'm going to sleep in, there's something popped in my head. It's like, what are you crazy? You got too much shit to do today.
Yeah.
Podcast to do. You're talking to a guy that, I'm like, get your ass out of bed. This went on. It was like, all right, fine. I'll get up.
Yeah.
But you just do it. And it becomes funny. It becomes glorious.
Well, what Frank just mentioned and what you've been talking about, Ben, it's becoming aware of that voice in our head that, hey, I don't have to be that voice that's saying you can't do this or you don't.
Yep.
It's like, whoa. So that level of awareness, like, hey, look, I may be hearing that, but it doesn't mean it's right, number one. And number two, it doesn't mean I need to listen to it. Is that like a kind of a common theme that you notice come up when you're talking to others and sharing your experience?
Absolutely. And I know for a fact there's more negative thoughts in the human mind than there is positive. Heard someone say, I can't remember who, but they're like, you got to look at the mind as a rose garden. It takes a lot of effort to raise a rose garden. If you didn't use any effort to raise it, it would just be full of weeds. And those negative thoughts are the weeds. And you have to make a conscious effort to either not believe it or squash them.
Yeah, I've
never heard that. That's
I actually heard, like, they've done a lot of studies on this, that like we have about 60,000 thoughts per day, and about 80% of them are negative. That's huge.
And don't we have those same thoughts day in, day out?
You can. So
you know what I mean?
The object here is to just let those other thoughts go and don't attach to them. So if you could just attach those 20%, you're at 100% of good thoughts, on whatever day you're on. So it's about letting go of those other thoughts, because that's what they are. Like that thought coming in, I'm going to lay in bed, and I'm like, no, I let go of that. I didn't need it. I didn't need another powering thought to come in. I just said, no, get up. I don't know what's going to bring me. Get up, you know. And I have nothing to complain about. I had a freaking good life, damn it, you know. But yet, I just know it's, you know, I don't want that thought. I didn't come here for that thought.
Yeah, it's tough. I think the first part of the morning is the hardest part of the day.
You're so right.
Yeah, and it's done on
especially when it's cold out. My wife likes to leave the freaking windows open, and it's like 20 degrees out. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's hard to get out of bed then.
Yeah. You're in Colorado right now, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that is correct.
Yeah, so
Colorado's.
It's funny. We're in Phoenix here, and it's still cold. It was cold this morning.
And I'm born and raised Phoenix, and so hearing you talk about Tempe is just so funny. That's like, you know, that's just been my whole life. Like that's where I bought my first house, all that type of stuff.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's very cool story.
Lucky you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Lucky you, man. Yeah.
On our end. Ben, do you do any speaking engagements? Tell us a little bit about that too, like just so we have an idea for the audience.
Yeah, so basically either talk about leadership or talk big things, adversity, because adversity is huge right now, especially these past few years have been extremely tough, and they just want to hear stories about overcoming adversity.
Yeah. Where will you go and share these stories? You know,
I've been all over the country and spoke before.
And is it always video, television, anything like that related?
You mean like what we're doing right now?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll get down and be more in like an interview setting, or do you ever like go out and speak to a company and address them, and they're like you're brought in for like team building events or anything of that nature?
Yep, I've spoken to companies before. Been to arenas where people have been there, and so yeah, I mean it's pretty much open. I adapt to
able to contact you to do things like that.
Yeah.
How would they do that?
Instagram, and it's at ZV Strength. Z is in Zanudo, V is in Van Alstyne, and Strength.
And we'll put that across the bottom of all of our stuff too. You know,
and I just got Twitter the other day, so someone talked me into that. And so
is it good?
Just in time, Elon just picked it up.
Yeah, I know, that's why I got it back. You know,
there you go.
You finally speak your mind.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to all of it ZV Strength. All my handles, and getting back into the social media stuff again. So,
all right, but that's the way of the world today. But hey,
that is
ZV Strength. So, but yeah,
what's your goal for people to take away? After something like this, what's your main message that you would have to anybody tuning into this, anybody listening?
You can only mourn for so long until you need to stop being a victim and get on with it. I mean, everyone's going through something, and I've found that a lot of people take this victim mentality. Well, it's because of this, I'm this. It's because I lost my leg that I'm a fucking alcoholic. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I can, you can mourn, but only for so long until that mourning turns into a victim mentality. And it is scary taking those first steps, but once you do, you'll understand why that you need to take them. And those are the pinnacle moments of your life going forward. Because whether you like it or not, the next 3 years is going to happen. The way you take on those next 3 years is up to you. Yeah. And no one can help you. You have to make that decision.
Yeah, and I think that's the scary thing is a lot of times too in life we're brought up where people are doing things for us and people want things, but no one really does. People show you stuff, they encourage you, but you have to do the work. Just like your buddy took you to the base of that mountain.
Yeah, I mean, that was the huge wake up point because like, oh, I'm a veteran. I get this because I'm a veteran. We're like, no one gives a shit, man. Yeah. It's like no one cares that you're a one-legged veteran. No one cares what you did. No one cares that you fought in Ramadi. It's like what people care about is right now. And right now you're looking like shit and you need to get it together. Yeah. And that's what really, that's what hit me.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Humans are attracted to that, whether we intellectually or consciously aware of that. We're attracted to growth.
Yeah.
See it. People see it. You know, and then they want to ask, so how do I do it? I'm like, well, this is how.
And it's very simple. Very simple.
It's simple. You just have to do it.
Exactly. It's not easy. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not easy.
No.
Not easy at all.
No.
But it's possible. Shit, if I could do it, anyone can, you know.
I hear a lot of great people say that line, and it's interesting. Like you just said, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And when they say it, I feel they truly, truly mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps out a lot of people that may be nowhere near your situation in life. The
But
worst they probably did was lose a job.
Yeah, right.
But yet that depression or that insecurity can kill them.
yeah,
Right.
them losing their job could be the hardest thing they've ever experienced, ever, and it's the end of the world, and they're gonna lose everything.
Yeah. But then they hear a story like you, and it's like, holy shit, I just lost a job. Not a big deal in comparison to what you went through and what you've gone through. And all of a sudden they could turn them around. So yeah, get off your ass. Because we came into a society not that long ago, and you could see it doesn't work. This complete politeness of people, and when I say politeness, the coddling.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, the generation ago I came from, there was no coddling from my parents. I'm a little older than you guys, but
my generation was all coddling.
Yeah,
I'm in the millennial age group.
And
you're still being considered a millennial, right?
I hope not, but yes.
I don't know if you're like on the cusp of that, Jen.
It's not associated to millennials.
I'll be 33 this year, so you're about 5 years older than I am.
Yeah. And my parents had the mentality, like, I'd be in Bethesda laying in my bed feeling sorry for myself, and then my mom would come in and just fucking excuse my language, by the way. Open the blinds. They're like, you are not gonna live like this. You're gonna get up. You're gonna go to physical rehab. And
Mom did that as a kid. She would start vacuuming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck, Mom? It's like, hey, you started vacuuming my carpet.
The only reason she didn't do that is because the janitor was in at the same time she was.
Right.
Oh God.
Oh. But no, the coddling's dangerous. In that book, The Coddling of the American Mind, I think it is.
Yeah.
That's a good book, and it talks about how dangerous that is, and because the real world is problems. The real world is nothing but problems, and if we've been sheltered in this little bubble where nothing bad can ever happen to me, and something bad does happen to me, whether I didn't make a football team, whether I lost my job, whether I got in a car accident, that whole thing is just going to crumble on you, and it's going to just crush you.
Yeah.
But
that's why you see guys like you are actually teaching stuff, talking about it. And,
you walk the walk.
Yeah. And the people that are writing the books on how to coddle your children, they're not selling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No, weird.
Well, I believe like there were probably things that the past generations did, maybe a small percent. They should have thought about.
They had good intent too.
Yeah,
like I'm sure the intent was there. It's just it wrong approach.
But it wasn't even a wrong approach. It was maybe like 3% was the wrong approach. But everyone wanted to throw the whole thing out so I kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm like, no. There's stuff my dad did that he could have done better, but based off not knowing. But 99% of what he did was fucking perfect.
Yeah, my dad gave me the belt all the time, right? And that really was.
Yeah, you're definitely not a millennial.
I know.
You're definitely not a millennial.
They're like, we'll never allow you to be a millennial.
When you were born.
But even the teachers would kick the shit out of us. I was an altar boy. I was an altar boy growing up, and
I grew up Catholic too.
Well, you also lived in North Dakota.
Yeah, so that's true.
Yeah, you weren't like
small town
in Southern. You weren't in California. In LA.
No. So definitely. I mean, even the teachers in school. I mean, I remember going to the principal's office and he would just spank me. Yeah, and I'm like, damn, I need to stop doing that.
Damn.
Yeah, not working for me. Wow. All right.
Dude, that's tell us real quick. United We Heal. Tell us how we access that, because that's important. We want to make sure other people get a chance to take a look on you in there as well.
All right, United We Heal, Amazon Prime.
Okay.
You could buy it or rent it on Amazon Prime for now. And AO Films made it. It's a fantastic documentary, and they really wanted to focus on a positive documentary, because when you look up veteran documentaries, not a lot of them have positive outcome.
No.
And they're we have a handful of veterans that are going through something. I mean, they didn't lose their, from sexual trauma in the military, from losing a brother. Chris Kyle brother was in there, to a guy losing his whole team. And all of us are in different stages of our recovery, but in the end, I mean, that's what it's about, is overcoming what we've been just reached out to. And it's a great movie.
Even that story about the mom who lost with us.
Yeah.
So that was powerful too. So it's just not just for people that are ex-veterans, it's for everyone to watch.
Everybody.
Everybody.
And when they were creating that, they wanted to create a movie where everyone can watch it. It's not a military civilian movie. It's everybody.
Yeah.
Because everyone needs to understand that they can overcome whatever they're going through.
Yeah. And we all need to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
we do.
You'd see it right now. You'd see it in this country. So, hopefully people watch this and we start to come together rather than separate and think one's better than the other. I'm like, no. We know very little to know who's right or wrong, but we know it works.
Yeah.
It's one thing as humans know. We know it works. We know it doesn't work. Choose. We do, right? That's it. Every day I wake up, I know it works. I know it doesn't work. I don't know what tomorrow brings me, though. But I know if I do this, it works. If I do that, not so much. Yeah.
Mm.
Ben, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to sit down with us and give our listeners, your take on this experience we call reality, because it's a unique take, and we know this is going to help a lot of people out there listening.
Well, just thank you for giving me the opportunity. It's an honor to be on it, an honor to tell my story. And if one person realized, like, man, you know what, maybe I should go out and try it, see if it works, then it was all worth it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Hey, man. It synchronicity has it. We record. This is Monday, and we always release it on Friday. And I was just talking, Mike. We didn't realize Friday is Veterans Day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So honored to have you on.
So this
Friday.
This will be aired, Perspective Shift, on Veterans Day.
Well, it's even more of an honor. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ben. Hey, good luck to you and everything. And I'll tell Jason you said hi.
Yeah, please do.
What we'll do too is, our social media rep, she'll reach out to you, let you know when we're about to be live. You'll see your information on a banner across when we bring up stuff like related to you. That way people can visually, follow you, reach out to you if they have any questions, but just help, spread your message.
Yeah.
Nope.
Very good message to spread. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you guys.
Ben,
looking forward to it.
Sir.
All right.
Have a great Veterans Day. We'll see you soon.
Yeah,
you guys too. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Pleasure having you on.
Bye.
Wow. That was a great interview. Yeah. Right.
Needless to say, that was an amazing interview.
Yeah. I learned a lot.
Yeah. Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Ben opened up, it was cool because he was so genuine.
Yeah, he was brutally honest.
Like a lot of people will try to tell people, what they think they want to hear, or similar stories about stuff, that we've seen in, television or movies and stuff like that. And he really shot it to us straight. He's like, oh, no, it's like this.
Yeah, very straightforward.
I like that.
Yeah, the world needs more of that.
It does.
Karen needs me to be like that, too.
Well, it's just funny because I'm
going to do the Ben method. Be straightforward.
we all have these like grandiose ideas that we create in our head about how things should feel, shouldn't feel, should be, shouldn't be. And to hear somebody who went through an experience like that and be so brutally honest, that was amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah.
So to audience out there, honor soldiers that fought in the war so we can have our freedom.
Yep.
All right, just hello. Just thank you. That's all you need to do. There's a lot of organizations you can get involved in. I know my cousin, he's passed since in 2020. He passed away, but he was
in active duty?
Yeah, he was inactive, but he was Marine as well. But Patriotic Dog Foundation is the one foundation he helped him. It actually helped him.
Okay.
He got a dog.
A service animal?
Indy. Yeah, it was a service animal. So that helped him through it, through time. And, in 2020 came, collective of everything happening. But, unfortunately he passed away. So salute out to Glenn Moody.
Yeah.
All right. We honor you guys. All right. Same to Ben.
Thanks for joining us today, guys.
You got to have a great one.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.